Welcome to Sunday Night with Old Time Radio, 11 May 2025. We have 2 episodes of the Golden Age of Radio. We move then to Duffy's Tavern. Then, If Freedom Failed, an episode of Philip Marlowe, Family Doctor, Moon Over Africa, and we close with an episode of Plum House. And we begin with a 5-minute mystery. Let's get started.
Another 5-minute mystery.
Inspector Delafield.
Yes, are you Miss Garnett?
Yes, I'm so glad you've come, Inspector. It's my sister. She's been murdered.
Oh, try to compose yourself, Miss Garnett. Hysterics don't help in cases like this.
I know, but I've been waiting for nearly an hour and... Well, this way, Inspector. My sister's body is here in the parlor.
The bullet pierced her heart. Miss Garnett, suppose you tell me what you know.
But I know nothing, Inspector. It's Walter who can tell you. He was here. He ran out after the murderer.
May I ask the identity of this man, Walter?
Walter Benson, my sister's husband. They were separated, have been for a year. Since Ethel left him, she and I have been living here in this country cottage.
Now, suppose you tell me the story in its proper order, Miss Garnett. Exactly what happened.
Well, Ethel was here and I was upstairs. I heard loud talking, then a shot. I came to the head of the staircase. Walter was coming in the front door and said the murderer had escaped through the back hall. Walter went out after him. In the parlor, I found Ethel. Like this.
I see.
Agnes, where are you?
It's Walter. He's come back. I'm here, Walter, in the parlor.
Is Ethel hurt badly?
Walter, Ethel is dead. This is Inspector Delafield.
Oh, here, Mr. Benson. You better sit down. It looks like you're all in.
Oh, I am. I chased him all the way to the Valley Road. He had a car there parked in a clump of trees. He got away.
Who was this man, Mr. Benson?
I don't know. I never got a good look at his face.
When did you first see him?
Well, I came to see Ethel this afternoon. I was standing on the stoop about to ring the bell, and then I heard the man's voice. He was very angry. I stepped off the stoop, went around to the parlor window. That window there. I stepped under the climbing rose bush and looked in. He was standing with his back to me. Then he fired.
What did you do then?
I ran to the front door. It was unlocked. I threw it open and saw him disappearing down the back hall.
Mr. Benson, those scratches on your hand, how did you come by those?
Why, from the rose bush, I suppose. The thorns when I was looking in the window.
Mr. Benson, is that the climbing rose bush out there, the one you spoke of?
Why, yes, of course it is.
Through the pane here, it looks like a Zephyrine Druin. Pink blossoms, climbing variety.
Inspector, my sister's murder is escaping, and you give us a dissertation on roses.
Yes, Miss Garnett, because the rose bush tells me this man is lying. He is the murderer of Ethel Benson.
What was the clue that told Inspector Delafield the truth? Let's see how good a detective you are. In a moment, we'll hear the explanation. But first... And now, a final word of explanation from Inspector Delafield.
Although Walter Benson's story had a ring of truth in it, because of its simplicity, he made one mistake. Later, he confessed that it was he who had argued with Ethel Benson, that in a blind rage he had killed her. It was her fingernails that scratched his hand, not the rose bush. For any amateur flower gardener knows a Zephyrine Druin has no thorns.
Hello again. This is Jack Benny welcoming you on behalf of the Longines Symphonette for a warm visit to a magic world and to a golden treasure chest of memory, entertainment, excitement, drama, and world history. Yep, we are going to explore the world of golden radio. I was part of radio as it developed, just as I am part of television. I share with Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Red Skelton, George Burns, Lucille Ball, Arthur Godfrey, and many others a common heritage in radio. I'd like to help you enjoy again those nostalgic moments when the family gathered together in the living room to share the make-believe world of radio. We will look in on comedy, drama, suspense, news, and the people who made it all possible. By the nature of radio, we as performers shared with you, our listeners, the creative best in our lives. We worked together, and for that reason, radio became part of our growing up together. Before we get started, though, I'd like to tell those of you who are just discovering the golden days of radio how it differs from today's television. Radio was really do-it-yourself television. Instead of a big, ugly glass picture tube, you saw the performers in your own mind. You were not restricted by the boundaries of a 21-inch tube, but instead painted your own big-as-life version of each moment with that loving, creative brush we call imagination. Now, just in case you're out of practice, here's a little test to demonstrate the power of your imagination.
Now, don't open that door, McGee.
Didn't you see that fabulous closet just as clearly as though it was on the largest full-color television screen imaginable? Why, every time McGee opened that door, 1 million Americans saw a closet in their own homes. Now let's try a more ambitious test of your imaginative power. And as we do, we'll start our sentimental journey back to the golden years of radio, when that instrument was a golden cornucopia from which poured the wealth of the greatest entertainers in history. Here is Bing Crosby on his Philco Radio Time show the night he entertained 2 guests.
Let me alone. I'll get it.
Just a minute. Hey, say, you. Huh? Have you ever played this number before, Bub?
Played it? I made it.
Well, I should have known. Jack Benny. Well, I certainly expected you tonight, Jack. I expected you over, but I didn't expect to find you in the orchestra.
I can't understand it. I've never played so poorly.
Oh, cheer up, Jack. Sure you have.
Thanks, kid. But I practiced all morning to limber up. I even washed my fingers in Does. Does doesn't do it. I'm dead.
Better switch to Wheaties, kid. But, Jack, I thought Mary was going to come with you. Where is she?
Oh, she stopped by the Musicians' Union to pay my dues.
Do you belong to the Musicians' Union?
Don't act so shocked.
Well, never heard of that like this.
Of course I belong to the Musicians' Union. I'm one of the charter members. You see, years ago I had a little band. We all joined together.
Oh, I know the group well. A fife, a drum, and a guy with a bandage around his head.
So far, I've had nothing. Look, I don't mean the spirit of 76. My band was called Jack Benny and his Sizzling Gobblers.
Sizzling Gobblers?
That's the line they gave me.
Yeah.
We specialized in turkey trot.
That's the line. And I'll bet your drummer had drumsticks that were really drumsticks.
Yeah, he used to drive me crazy with that munching during my solo. Can't understand it. Bill Morrow used to write for me. Bing, what I wanted to see you about is a business proposition. What are you going to do this summer?
I'm going to take a vacation.
Well, I've got an idea where you and I could combine business with pleasure.
I'm afraid not, Jack.
But, Bing, I mean, this is a chance to pick up some extra money. And that never hurts, you know.
Oh, no, it's spending that hurts, isn't it?
That's ridiculous. It doesn't bother me.
Don't knock it till you've tried it.
Well, Mary Livingston.
Well, get a load of her all decked out like Mrs. Astor's horse. Listen, Mary, you never get all dressed up like that on my program.
Well, how often do I sit on Bing Crosby's lap?
Well, you're not on Crosby's lap.
Wait till I get rolling.
Mary, just kidding, Bing. Nothing will happen.
You keep out of this.
Fine. Listen, I've been thinking of this for years, and I might as well come right out and say it. What do all the women see in Bing Crosby? Look at him. Hey, he's got blue eyes like mine, though. Blue eyes like mine.
You can stop there, brother.
Mary, all I want to know is, did you go to the Musicians' Union and pay my dues?
Yes.
All right, Mary, where's my card?
Here.
Just a minute, this isn't a musician's card.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. They transferred you to the Plumbers' Union.
The Plumbers' Union?
Your plunger arrives tomorrow.
What?
I can't wait to hear your first solo. Going to be asleep on the beach, huh?
Is your imagination getting tuned up? Good. Our radio pioneered most of the kind of shows you see on television today. Humor, for example, breaks down into two basic formats: the variety show and the situation comedy. Both forms reached a peak in radio. I asked George Burns to select a favorite episode of the George Burns and Gracie Allen Show from his own personal collection.
As the new half-century gets underway, the favorite pastime seems to be choosing the outstanding men of the last half-century. Magazines and newspapers have published their selections, but Gracie seems to think one important name has been omitted.
Thomas Edison, Winston Churchill. How can they pick men like that to head the list?
I'm interested to know, Gracie, who's your choice?
Need you ask, George? I'm thinking of a man whose glorious, romantic voice has thrilled millions.
The birds are sweetly singing and perfume flowers are bringing in the wind.
A man whose charm and talent are world famous.
Gracie, this is getting embarrassing.
Only one man should top this list, Charles Boyer.
Charles Boyer?
Mm-hmm.
You put him ahead of Edison?
Yep.
Edison invented electric lights.
With Boyer, who needs them?
Gracie, there's some pretty great men on this list.
Not as great as Boyer. But look at these names. Arturo Toscanini, conductor. How do you like that? A man who punches transfers.
He happens to be a musical conductor.
All right, so he hums while he punches cranberries.
Hums Dardanella.
And here's another one, Einstein. Now, what did he do?
Einstein?
Yes.
What did he do?
Uh-huh.
He's the father of relativity.
Oh, what does she do?
Relativity, Einstein?
Yes.
She's with Warner Brothers. You know, Gracie, for a minute there, instead of boy A, I thought that you thought that I belonged on that list of great men.
Oh, well, you see, George, you're my husband, and I don't think of you as a man.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, I don't think of you as a man who does anything.
Thanks again.
I mean, I don't think of you as a man who does anything romantic.
A triple thanks and stop thinking about it.
Oh, now I've hurt your feelings. And I didn't mean to, George. You know, I'd rather be married to you than any man on this list. Churchill, Edison, Stalin, Hitler.
You have just earned my 4th thank you.
When you think of the golden age of radio, you're bound to remember the performer whose hold on the heartstrings of America spanned almost 3 generations. Vaudeville to radio and then to television. When he died, a whole nation mourned his loss.
I love to spend each Sunday with you. As friend of friend, I'm sorry it's through. I'm telling you just how I feel. I hope you feel that way too.
Eddie Cantor, of course. Now, very early in the development of radio came 2 characters called Sam and Henry. Once the name was changed to Amos and Andy, a new national pastime was invented. Why, I can remember walking past motion picture theaters in the 30s and seeing the signs that promised to stop the movie and turn on the radio when it came Amos and Andy time.
You know, Andy, it's a great thing for us, this job with the construction company.
Oh, yeah, and I like that Mr. Carter, the head of the company. He sure was nice to us when he gave us the tools this morning.
Oh, yeah, he is a real gentleman. I tell you, I never... I'll get it. Hello, George Kingfish Stevens speaking.
Hello? This is Mr. Carter of the Carter Construction Company.
Oh, yes, Mr. Carter. How's you this evening?
See here, what are you and Brown trying to pull? Why didn't you show up on that porch wrecking job this morning?
Well, you see, excuse me, you said something about slowing up on that porch wrecking job.
I said, why didn't you and Brown show up on that porch wrecking job?
Well, Miss Carter, excuse me, we got a bad disconnection here.
Can't you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can hear what you were saying, but I know you ain't saying what I was hearing.
Hello? Hello?
Look, Miss Carter, the phone's all messed up here. I tell you what, I'll hang up and you call me right back.
Very well.
What's the trouble, Kingfish?
Oh, I don't know, Andy. The phone is messed up or my ears done jammed up on me. You take the call when the man calls back.
Okay, I'll, wait a minute. Hello, Andy Brown speaking.
Oh, it's you, Brown. Can you hear what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You coming through fine.
Good.
Now, what is it you want to tell me?
I want to know why you and Stevens didn't show up to wreck that porch this morning.
Hold the phone. Kingfish, get back on here. This man is all confused.
Hello, Miss Carter. Stevens back on here.
Look, Stevens, what's going on? You and Brown are completely confused.
We is confused. You is the one that's confused. We spent the whole day today wrecking the porch over at 4565 Amsterdam Avenue.
4565 Amsterdam Avenue? That's fine.
Well, thank you, sir.
That's just great.
Yeah, we thought it was a nice job, yeah.
The port you were supposed to wreck was at 666 Riverside Drive.
Miss Carter, is you there?
Yes?
Well, Miss Carter, this time let's both hang up and don't nobody call nobody back.
Though comedy and drama provided the warm family memories of those golden years, the dramatic punctuation that underscored our lives and helped to change the course of destiny came from the news bureaus of radio. To take you through those years in a kaleidoscopic living history, I've asked a friend of mine whose voice has been a welcome visitor into millions of American homes to take over. Frank Knight has been the voice of the Longines Symphonette for over 3 decades. And before that, his special vantage point as chief announcer for the Mutual Broadcasting System's flagship station, WOR in New York City, makes him uniquely qualified to recall with us the momentous and some not-so-momentous moments in history. Frank, it's nice to be with you again.
Thank you, Jack. Listening to those great memories of radio brought back the names of so many of my friends that it's hard to know where to begin. Radio recognized its obligations very early. In 1920, station KDKA, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, broadcast presidential election returns for the very first time in history.
It is now apparent that the Republican ticket of Harding and Coolidge is running well ahead of Constant Roosevelt. At the present time, Harding has collected more than 16 million votes against some 9 million for the Democrats. We'll give you the state vote in just a moment. But first, we'd like to ask you to let us know if this broadcast is reaching you. Please drop us a card, address station KDKA, Westinghouse, East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
The first transcontinental radio network broadcast was of a Rose Bowl game in January of 1927. In the same year, Lindbergh's triumphant return from France was broadcast coast to coast from Washington, D.C. The President of the United States, Calvin Coolidge, introduced Lindy to Congress.
As President of the United States, I bestow the Distinguished Flying Cross upon Colonel Charles A. Lindbergh. I arrived in the Bourget, Paris. At every gathering, at every meeting I attended, were the same words. You have seen the affection of the people of France for the people of America demonstrated to you. Take back with you this message from France and Europe to the United States of America. Thank you.
About this time, the newspapers were beginning to recognize radio as competitor for the advertising dollar. Do you remember the joke making the rounds? What is the difference between newspapers and radio? Well, you can wrap a herring in a newspaper. Amos and Andy were using topical subjects then, and this was their comment on a certain election.
Who is the men that is running against each other this year election time? Explain that to me.
Herbert Hoover, Vesuvius Al Smith.
Herbert Hoover, Vesuvius Al Smith, huh?
Yeah.
Another thing I want to ask you. I don't know if I was going to be a Democrat or a Republican, you know it?
How did your old man vote?
Oh, my papa, you mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Papa used to always vote for the Democrat.
Well, then, if I was in your place, I would vote for the Republicans.
How come?
'Cause I ain't never knowed your old man to do nothing right in his life.
And when the stock market broke in 1929, another of your favorite comedians, Eddie Cantor, took the opportunity to laugh at his own losses.
If the market takes another slump, I know thousands and thousands of married men who will have to leave their sweethearts and go back to their wives. Nowadays, when a man walks into a hotel and requests a room on the 19th floor, the clerk asks him, for sleeping or jumping?
As the time for a new presidential election drew near, there were many very fundamental issues. The stock market crash and the resulting depression. The question of prohibition and the evils it had brought on the scene. One of the greatest orators of his time, legendary in his pursuit of sin, fanatic in his determination that prohibition should remain the law of the land, was ex-baseball player Billy Sunday.
The return of the saloon would mean the overthrow of civilization in our land. It was because I didn't want our boys to die drunkards that I fought and fight. I'm going to live long enough to see America so dry you'll have to prime a man before it can spit. And I'll fight the saloon from Hawaii to Hoboken. And I'll kick it as long as I've got a foot. And I'll fight it and punch it as long as I have a fist. I'll butt it as long as I have a head. I'll bite it as long as I have a tooth. And when I'm old and fistless and footless and toothless, I'll gum it till I go home to glory and it goes home to perdition.
The first United States president to take full advantage of the growing power of radio was Franklin D. Roosevelt. Starting with his own first inaugural address, FDR took to radio no less than 20 times in the first 9 months of office.
I, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. This is a day of national consecration. And I am certain that on this day my fellow Americans expect that on my induction into the presidency, I will address them with a candor and a decision which the present situation of our people impels. This is preeminently the time to speak the truth, the whole truth, frankly and boldly. Taxes have risen. Our ability to pay has fallen. Government of all kinds is faced by serious curtailment of income. The means of exchange are frozen in the currents of trade. The withered leaves of industrial enterprise lie on every side. Farmers find no market for their produce, and the savings of many years in thousands of families are gone. More important, a host of unemployed citizens face the grim problem of existence, and an equally great number toil with little return. Only a foolish optimist can deny the dark realities of the moment. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
As FDR turned his strength towards solving our domestic problems, the rumble of trouble began in Europe. New voices from afar became familiar to listeners in the United States as radio began to shrink the world. Against the background of disturbance in Europe, a thoughtful radio voice warned the United States to watch the East. In 1935, Edwin C. Hill, a crack NBC commentator, had this to say.
Still another of those useless, troublemaking naval armament reduction conferences gets underway in London with prospects already darker than your cellar at midnight. Good old Uncle Sam, always hopeful, tells Great Britain and Japan that he would like to welcome a 20% naval cut. John Bull shuts up like the clam of commerce. with Hitler building up a navy for Germany and Mussolini on the warpath, doesn't suit him at all. But Japan speaks out with an emphatic no. As an American, I admire the idealism and good faith of our government, but sometimes I do wish that our beloved Uncle Sam would stay at home and mind his own business. Someday, we may get our fingers burned. Mind our own business, speak softly, carry a big stick, and keep an eye on Japan as far as this side of the Pacific is concerned. Clyde Pangborn, famous flying man, testifies before a congressional committee that, in his opinion, America is threatened by only one enemy, and that enemy is Japan. He testifies that Japan has perfected man-operated aerial torpedoes in which the plane and the bomb are one, an instrument deadlier than any known weapon, certain to bring death to the operator. Yet thousands of Japanese, says Pangborn, have already volunteered for the honor of dying as pilots of these infernal weapons of infernal modern warfare.
1935 also saw Case Closed written on the official records of the famed Lindbergh kidnapping case, 3 years after Lindy's infant son was kidnapped and killed.
The National Broadcasting Company presents a special bulletin from the Press Radio News. Trenton, New Jersey. Bruno Richard Hauptmann was electrocuted at 8:47 tonight for the murder of the Lindbergh baby. This bulletin is from the Press Radio Bureau. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Nothing to fear but fear itself became the classic rallying cry of that recovery era. Radio carried that message of hope to homes throughout the nation. It has become a classic. Radio broadcasts of lasting impact became more frequent during the turbulent 30s as the world underwent change after change. One classic broadcast with an impact of intensely personal nature occurred when the dream of the dirigible crashed with the Hindenburg in Lakehurst, New Jersey. The description by Herb Morrison and his engineer Jimmy Nelson belongs in this collection because never again has a disaster been broadcast right from the spot, from the first second when fate took a hand in what was to have been a routine news broadcast.
We both flew down from Chicago yesterday afternoon aboard one of the giant new 21-passenger flagships of American Airlines. It took us only 3 hours, 55 minutes to fly non-stop from Chicago to New York. When we landed at Newark, we found another flagship of American Airlines waiting to take us to Lakehurst with our equipment when we were ready to go. And incidentally, American Airlines is the only airline in the United States which makes connections with the Hindenburg. The Hindenburg left Frankfurt, Germany, Tuesday evening rather, at 7:30 their time. And for better than 2.5 days, they've been speeding through the skies over miles and miles of water here to America. Now they're coming in to make a landing of the Zeppelin. I'm going to step out here and cover it from the outside. So as I move out, we'll just stand by a second. Well, here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. We're out now outside of the hangar, and what a great sight it is. A thrilling one. It's a marvelous sight. It's coming down out of the sky, pointed directly towards us and toward the mooring mast. The mighty diesel motors just roared, their propellers biting into the air and throwing it back into a gale-like whirlpool. No wonder this great floating palace can travel through the air at such a speed with these powerful motors behind it. Now, a field that we thought active when we first arrived has turned into a moving mass of cooperative action. The landing crews have rushed to the posts and spots, and orders are being passed along, and last-minute preparations are being completed for the moment we have waited for so long. The ship is riding majestically toward us like some great feather, riding as though it was mighty proud of the place it's playing in the world's aviation. The ship is no doubt bustling with activity, as we can see. Orders are shouted to the crew. The passengers are probably lining the windows, looking down at the field ahead of them, getting a glimpse of the mooring mast. It's practically standing still now. They've dropped ropes out of the nose of the ship, and it's been taken a hold of down on the field by a number of men. It's starting to rain again. The rain had slacked up a little bit. The back motors of the ship are just holding it just enough to keep it from... It bursts into flames. Get it, Charlie. It's crashing. It's crashing terrible. Oh, my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and it's falling on the mooring mast, and all the folks agree that this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's flaking. 20. 400 or 500 feet into the sky. It's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the passengers screaming around here. I can't talk to people. His friends are out there. I can't talk, ladies and gentlemen. Honest, it's just laying there, a mass of smoking wreckage. And everybody can't hardly breathe and talk and screaming. Lady, I'm sorry. Honestly, I can hardly breathe. I'm going to step inside where I cannot see it. Charlie, that's terrible. Listen, folks, I'm going to have to stop for a minute because I've lost the voice. This is the worst thing I've ever witnessed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back again. I've sort of recovered from the terrific explosion and the terrific crash that occurred just as it was being pulled down to the mooring mast. The terrible amount of hydrogen gas in it just caused the tail surface broke into flame first. Then there was a terrific explosion, and that's followed by the burning of the nose and the crashing nose into the ground, and everybody tearing back at breakneck speed to get out from underneath it because it was over the people at the time it burst into flames. Now, whether it fell on the people who were witnessing it, we do not know. But as it exploded, they rushed back. And now it's smoking a terrific black smoke floating up into the sky. The flames are still leaping maybe 30, 40 feet from the ground, the entire 811 feet length of it. They're frantically calling for ambulances and things. The wires are being humming with their activity. And I've lost my breath several times during this exciting moment here. Will you pardon me just a moment? I'm not going to stop talking. I'm just going to swallow several times until I can keep on. I should imagine that the nose is not more than 500 feet or maybe 700 feet from the mooring mast. They have dropped 2 ropes, and whether or not some spark or something set it on fire, we don't know, or whether something pulled loose on the inside of the ship, causing a spark and causing it to explode in the tail surface. But everything crashed to the ground, and there's not a possible chance of anybody being saved. I wish I could stop in just a moment and see if I can get my breath again. And Charlie, if you'll fade it out just a minute, I'll come back with more description, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back again. I raced down to the burning ship, and just as I walked up to the ship, climbed over the picket line, I met a man coming out, dazed. He couldn't find his way. I grabbed a hold of him. It's Philip Mangone, Angone, of New York. Philip Mangone. He's burned terribly in the hands, and he's burned terribly in the face. His eyebrows and all his hair is burned off, but he's walking and talking plainly and distinctly, and he told me he jumped. He jumped with other passengers. Now, there's a Mr. Spey. It sounds like Spey. We're not sure of it. And he also got out. Now, it is my sincere hope the majority of the passengers jumped when it came close to the ground, according to what Mr. Mangone told me. He says, thank God he jumped, and we say thank God for him also.
It is not remarkable that so many of the reported ghosts and phantoms and supernatural visions have been observed just as night was falling. For that is a time when the mind is fatigued and is most subject to hallucinations. And yet, there are some, like that which Captain Nolan saw on the plains of Normandy, which cannot be so easily explained away.
It was during the latter days of the First World War. The cavalry troops under the command of Captain David Nolan had rendered valuable service in a score of crucial battles. They had been under fire for weeks on end, and now they were retiring behind the lines for a rest they had fully earned. The long column of horsemen moved slowly, wearily through the twilight. At their head rode Captain Nolan and 2 other officers. They were discussing how they intended to spend their leave.
You men can celebrate all you like. The only thing I want to do is to sleep.
Each man to his own taste, Digby. Mine happened to run toward wine, women, and song.
That sounds much more attractive to me. In the state I'm in, I couldn't even think of...
Good Lord. Captain Nolan broke off abruptly in the middle of the sentence. For it was just at that moment that he saw the phantom horseman. They were clad in white, on white steeds, and they rode in a straight, silent column, paralleling the line of the captain's own men, not more than a dozen yards away. So swiftly did they move, and so soundlessly, that their horses' hooves seemed scarcely to be touching the ground. And the column did not end. It went on and on, one ghostly figure following another through the gathering dusk. Captain Nolan's first impulse was to turn to his fellow officers to call their attention to the amazing vision. But then he thought better of it, so he rode on in silence. For some reason, the men beside him had grown silent too. But a few moments later, while the captain's eyes were still fastened on the incredible cavalcade, Lieutenant Digby said suddenly,
"You may have something there after all, Captain. I could stand a good night's rest myself."
Nolan turned sharply and peered into Digby's face, as though he was seeking something there.
What made you change your mind? Oh, I don't know. I suppose I'm more tired than I thought.
It seemed to hit you rather abruptly.
Yes, it did, didn't it, Captain?
And that was all the lieutenant would say. And once again, silence fell among the three men. But this time, it was short-lived. For after another moment or so, Lieutenant Wayne blurted out violently, almost hysterically,
"I can't stand this any longer. You see them, so does Digby. We're not dreaming, and we're not just tired either. That column of cavalrymen is really there. If it weren't, why should all three of us be watching it?"
Yes, each of the three officers had seen the column at the same moment, and each had remained silent for fear of making himself look ridiculous. Night descended swiftly now, and the phantom horsemen were blotted from view. But at the next town, Captain Nolan sent back a searching party. They returned with the inevitable answer. No other cavalry troops were in the vicinity. None could have been. And yet, afterward, Captain Nolan and Lieutenants Digby and Wayne, all men of unquestionable integrity, were willing to swear that they had seen the same identical vision. A vision incredible but true.
Bristol Myers, the makers of Sal Hepatica, famous laxative, and Minute Rub, modern chest rub, brings you Duffy's.
Hello, Duffy's. Where do you late meet to eat? Archie, the manager's baking. Duffy ain't here. Hello, Duffy. Tonight, Peter Lorre and Mrs. Corbett Wells in a talking bird. Huh? Mrs. Wells talking bird. Now, don't get excited, Duffy. It ain't Orson. No, this bird you can shut up once in a while. Yeah. Well, you ought to see the bird, Duffy. It's wonderful. He talks, he whistles, he even sings. Well, you ought to see him. He's practically human. 4F. Yeah, he's got flat feet. They call him a minor bird. He comes from the Malay Peninsula. Yeah, where the Malarians come from. Yeah, Mrs. Wells found him in the jungle, when he was just a little puppy. Well, what do you call a small bird? A gosling. A gosling. Duffy, you kill me. A gosling is a Norwegian trader. Certainly. I'll call you back, Duffy. So long.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Duffy's. Come in and meet Finnegan, Eddie the waiter, Miss Duffy, Johnny Johnston, Paul Weston and his orchestra, our special guests tonight, Peter Lorre and Mrs. Corbett Wells Minor Bird Raffles, and Archie himself, Ed Gardner.
Harry, don't forget the announcement about the book, Duffy's First Reader.
Oh, yes, I'll make it now.
Yeah, orchestra, frame prep, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Harry.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, ever since Duffy's has been on the air, people have been asking why Archie hasn't written a book. Well, finally, it's happened. It has been written by the great genius.
Harry, please. Folks, he means it has been wrote. Bonzel, watch your diction.
Yes. Yeah, Archie has really wrote a unique book. It is called Duffy's First Reader, and there are chapters on mathematics, etiquette, history, and grammar.
Not to mention me autobiography.
That's right. And Duffy's first reader is profusely illustrated.
Harry, tell him it's got pictures, too.
Yes, pictures not only of Archie, but of the famous personalities who have visited Duffy's in the past. 48 pages of pictures and laughs. And all it will cost you, ladies and gentlemen, is the cost of postage and handling. In round numbers, 10 cents. That's all. Simply send your dime, no stamps, please, to Duffy's First Reader, Post Office Box 67, New York City, New York.
Hey, Mr. Archie, now, this talking bird, what do they call it?
They call it a minor bird.
Why do they call it a minor bird?
Well, Eddie, that is difficult for me to explain to one unfamiliar with the natural habitudes of botanology.
Oh, you don't know, huh?
Look, Eddie, I never talk on a subject of which I am ignorant.
Now, that quiet, nobody could be. Tell me, why do they call it a minor bird?
Because it's a bird that ain't 21 years old.
What do they call the bird after it becomes 21?
Nothing. They die at 20. Would you like any more information, Eddie?
Yeah, keep it flying. Where'd you get all this stuff?
Well, don't forget, Eddie, that for a long time I was associated with the Explorers Club.
As a busboy.
Maid of the water, they call me. Naturally, working in an Explorers Club, it makes one practically an explorer oneself.
Well, I was a waiter at the Stork Club for 2 years. I ain't never had a baby. Well, what did this bird look like?
What does it look like? It looks like sort of one of them molted falcons. Only darker.
More of a chocolate malted falcon.
Yeah.
Say, Archie.
Oh, yeah, Miss Duffy.
Who did you say was coming down here tonight?
Peter Lorre and a token bird.
A fine choice they give me.
What's wrong with Lorre? After all, he has all the requirements you demand. He's a man.
He's too short. I never go out with small men. It ain't sportsmanlike.
Well, he's short, but he's tricky. Anyway, what's wrong with short guys? Your own father is shorter than your mother, ain't he?
Well, they were the same height when they were married.
Yeah, well, I guess all that banging on the head has dwarfed him a bit. Look, Miss Duffy, can't you think of anything but men?
Sure I can. But why should I punish myself?
Say, Archie.
Yeah, Harry.
Mrs. Carveth Wells is here with a bird.
Oh, well, good evening, Mrs. Wells. We are indeed grafted by your humble presence here tonight.
Thank you, Archie.
Speaking of jungles, you know I'm an old-time hunter myself.
You are?
Yeah, many's the time I hunted elephants, lions, tigers, hyenas. Yeah. Eddie over there used to be me safari. Priceless, Eddie. Many's the time he has trekked me out of the jungle.
Which jungle?
What was the name of that one again, Eddie?
I'm sorry, this is the one you got to trek yourself out of.
Well, anyways, as I was saying...
Archie, can't we hear the bird talk for a change?
Say, that is a very good idea. How about it, Mrs. Wells?
All right, I'll take Raffles out of his cage.
Huh. Rather hear a bird talk than me.
Is that the bird doing that?
Raffles, whistle your favorite tune. Whistle your favorite tune. Whistle your favorite tune. Whistle. Whistle your favorite tune.
Better throw him a grape.
Whistle your favorite tune. Whistle. Now whistle my country 'tis of thee, Raffles. Whistle my country 'tis of thee. Whistle. My country 'tis of thee. Whistle. Now, Raffles, you're gonna whistle. You're gonna whistle hail, hail, the gang's all here. Hail, hail. Whistle hail, hail. Whistle really the song you like best. Whistle your favorite tune. Now whistle your favorite tune. Yes. Now what did Raffles, you're gonna whistle your favorite tune again? All right. When you saw Duffy's picture, did you laugh? Raffles, what do you say to this pretty girl?
Hello, darling. Likewise, I'm sure.
When you saw Duffy's picture, did you laugh? Did you laugh? Now, Raffles,
that's a very bright bird.
Whistle your favorite tune. Whistle your favorite tune. whistle your favorite tune. That's fine, Raffles, but you're going to say hello, Jojo? Going to say hello, Jojo? Say hello, Jojo.
Hello, Jojo.
Now, Raffles, change your voice.
Jojo.
Now, Raffles.
Jojo.
I know that you have a tune you like best of all. How about whistling the tune that you like best of all? Whistle, whistle, whistle. Whistle, start singing.
Excuse me. Hello? Hello, Duffy. Yeah, the bird's here. Well, don't worry, Duffy, don't worry. I'm watching him. Yeah, besides... Anyhow, I got me hat on. Huh? What? No, Duffy, you're wrong. No, Duffy, it was not. Nah. Thought it was Gabriel Heder. Well, gee, Mrs. Wells, that was wonderful. Ain't there nothing this feathered quiz kid can't do?
Well, Raffles can't give you advice.
He can't, huh? Well, touche. We got a bird that can. Give, Bunzel.
Gladly, Archie. Ladies and gentlemen, one of these days you may wake up in the morning with that dull, headachy feeling that comes from the need of a laxative. And if it's a crowded day, or if you have special plans, you may be inclined to put off taking that laxative till bedtime, even though it means you'll continue to feel under the weather. Well, now that's not necessary. Simply take Sal Hepatica right away. For then Sal Hepatica brings gentle, speedy relief. In fact, usually within an hour. So you can see you don't have to wait till night to take the laxative needed in the morning, and don't have to go through the whole day feeling out of sorts. And this famous saline has an additional advantage.
Sparkling Sal Hepatica also helps sweeten an upset stomach by helping to reduce excess gastric acidity.
So tonight, or first thing tomorrow, get Sal Hepatica from your druggist. Remembering this, caution, use only as directed. Then any time you need a laxative, whether morning, noon, or night, see if you don't feel better faster when you take gentle, speedy Sal Hepatica.
Hello, Archie. Oh, hello, Johnson. Look, Johnny, I've been meaning to apologize to you. You know, I've been a little rough on you the last couple of weeks, and I want you to know that I really think you're a great singer.
Oh, okay, Bud. Now, look, about this bird. It happens that, I'm the singer around here, and I don't like to see a bird cutting in on my racket.
Look, Johnson, it may be news to you, but them birds was in a singing racket long before you was.
Well, I want you to know that I'm not taking second billing to a crow.
Johnson, what is your song tonight?
Sunday, Monday, or always.
Sunday, Monday, or always. I notice you left out payday. Johnson, sing. You were very wise leaving out that payday.
Won't you tell me when we will meet again? Sunday, Monday, or always? If you're satisfied, I'll be at your side. Sunday, Monday, or always? No need to tell me now what makes the world go round. When at the sight of you, my heart begins to pound and pound. And what am I to do? Can't I be with you Sunday, Monday, or always? Tell me when we will meet again. Sunday, Monday, or always. If you're satisfied, I'll be at your side. Sunday, Monday, or always. No need to tell me now what makes the world go round. When at the sight of you, my heart begins to pound and pound. And what am I to do? Can I be with you Sunday, Monday, or always?
That was very good. You know, we shouldn't really walk on you like we do.
Oh, that's all right, Arch. I'm like a rug, you know. I'm better after a good beating.
Why do I try to get friendly with this guy?
Hello, Archie.
Well, Finnegan, you're late. You missed the talking bird.
So what? We had chicken for dinner.
But you should have been here, Finnegan. This bird really talked words, you know?
Sure?
Yeah.
Tell me briefly, what did he say?
Well, he said a bunch of things like take a bit, hello, Jojo, Rebecca, hello, Jojo.
Sounds like a moron to me. Where does this bird come from, Arch?
Well, he's the offspring of Mrs. Carveth Wells, the explorer.
Oh, I know quite a number of offspring explorers.
Finnegan, stop lying. What explorers do you know?
Oh, Dr. Presume.
Dr. Presume?
Yeah, Dr. Livingston, I presume.
Finnegan. The man's name was Stanley, I presume.
Miss Archie?
What's the matter, Eddie?
Ooh, look here. The man that's been sitting over in that corner, you know who he is?
Who?
Mr. Peter Laurie.
Well, Mr. Laurie, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you make the rest of the gang here look less gruesome.
Please, Archie, I don't want you to think of me as a horrible person.
Well, all right, I'll try not to then.
No, please think of me as a sweet, lovable man who makes certain people faint. Sort of non-musical Frank Sinatra.
Sort of a Frankenstein actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't scare me, you know. I work for a guy who makes you look like little orphan Annie.
Who is that?
Guy named Duffy. He's half ape.
What is the other half?
What?
What is the other half?
Ape. You should see him. He stands 5'6", sitting down on his stocking feet and has a neck that starts at his waist. Yeah, guy's all shoulders. In fact, when he buys a suit, he only buys the coat.
Well, what does he do with the pants?
His wife wears them.
Oh, he sounds like a monstrosity.
Yeah, swell fella. Yeah, and he loves your pictures, you know. He's always so happy at the finish when you finally get the ghoul.
Oh, Archie, I'm very tired of that sort of picture.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, you know, I've been offered a radio program where I can be something different, entirely different. A children's hour.
Yeah, it sounds like a natural for you. Yeah. Good evening, kiddies. This is your Uncle Jack, the Ripper.
I'm serious, Archie. I've always loved little children, and I'm going to write this program for them myself. Oh, it's lovely. The first story, you know, is about a little boy and girl.
Little boy and girl, huh?
Yes, a little boy and girl, and they are late for dinner because on their way home from school, they have fallen into a concrete mixer.
Oh, the joys of childhood. Where is their parents?
Well, their parents would have been there, but they were strolling down a country lane and got their heads cut off by a windmill.
This will certainly get the kiddies to take their milk.
I think so, too, yes. You see, so the police tried to find their uncle, but Uncle is busy in the backyard having a barbecue. And what do you think is Uncle barbecuing, huh?
Auntie.
Oh, you read the story.
Well, it sounds pretty good, Peter. Maybe you can get some plasma company to sponsor it. But I like it.
Archie, do you mind introducing me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Laurie. This is Miss Duffy, the daughter of the establishment.
You know, Mr. Laurie, you're even less repulsive in person as you are on the screen.
Thank you. I've never seen you on a screen, so I can't return a compliment.
Thank you. Can I ask you a personal question?
Yes, what is it?
Do girls go out with you?
Oh, once in a while.
How do they explain you to their folks?
They usually say, Mama, see what I'll marry if you don't let me go out with Joe?
Well, Mr. Laurie, don't feel too bad. Remember, any girl who would go out with you isn't worth having anyhow.
Look, Miss Duffy, I don't want to break up this courtship, but why don't you show Mr. Laurie around the joint? Entertain him.
Maybe I'll sing to him.
That kind of horror even he couldn't stand. Listen, take him over and show him the bird. Leave them amaze each other.
Okay, come on, Mr. Laurie.
Hey, Mr. Archie?
Yeah, Eddie?
Crime on the premises.
Crime? What happened?
Somebody has stole a sandwich.
Perish forbid. From where?
From the free hors d'oeuvres counter.
But I just put up a sign. Free hors d'oeuvres. Do not touch. What a rat. Swiping a sandwich marked free hors d'oeuvres. Even a cop wouldn't do that.
What's the matter, Archie?
Well, Funzel, we got to conduct an investigation. You know, CX, a cross-examination.
Oh. Well, I'll be very happy to tell you all I know.
About the sandwiches?
No, about Minute Rub.
Listen, Funzel, will you please tell me how Minute Rub fits in here?
Well, in the first place, Minute Rub is one of the two fine products that make it possible for our listeners to hear Duffy's. And in the second place, if any of those listeners are suffering from aggravating cold symptoms, their noses are stuffed up and that they have that aching feeling in their muscles, Minute Rub fits in perfectly. Simply do this, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourself some Minute Rub, modern chest rub, right away, and massage it briskly on your back and chest. That's all you do. Then even before you finish, you'll feel a gratifying sensation of warmth as Minute Rub gets to work, begins to soothe the discomfort and tightness caused by your cold.
And Minute Rub at the same time gives off active menthol vapors that help relieve that congested feeling in your nose and throat.
Nationally famous Minute Rub is greaseless and it's stainless, too. Seems to disappear as you rub it on. So get after those annoying cold symptoms with this modern chest rub that takes only a minute to use. Only a minute to start bringing welcome relief. Minute Rub.
Story, Mr. Laurie. That brings us up to date in the case of the missing salami.
Yeah?
We gotta find the crook now. Are you willing to take the case?
Frankly, Archie, it doesn't quite intrigue me.
Well, why not?
Well, you see, in the movies, the scene is usually more gruesome. You know, bodies on the floor and...
Bodies on the floor. Finnegan. Finnegan, lay down.
Oh, that's too gruesome.
Too gruesome, huh? You better lay face down, Finnegan. Now, leave us start the cross-examination and grill some of these rats. And, Mr. Lowry, out of courtesy to you as our guest, I think you're the first rat we should grill.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Lowry, now come clean. Where was you on the night of tonight?
Well, I came down here to Duffy's.
For what reason?
Well, I was out of my mind.
Out of your mind, huh?
The logical man to eat the sandwich.
Eddie, please, this is a criminal investigation.
It sure is. It sure is.
Now, my dear Mr. Lowry, can you explain the location of your whereabouts during the misdemeanor of the sandwich?
Well, when the sandwich was stolen, I was sitting on a chair next to the free hors d'oeuvre counter listening to the bird sing songs.
Sitting next to the counter listening to the bird, huh?
Yeah. But as you see, when I sit in this chair, I cannot possibly reach up to the sandwiches.
Well, that eliminates you. Next witness.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just call me Mr. D.A. Take the stand, please, for the third degree.
Oh, let me do this, Archie, please. Miss Duffy, where were you born?
223 and a half 3rd Avenue, 6 blocks from the Navy Yard.
He just asked you for your birthplace, not your hobby.
Now, Miss Duffy, were you ever convicted of a crime?
Oh, just once, a minor traffic violation.
And what was the violation?
Necking on an intersection.
Is that illegal?
Yeah, we weren't in a car.
Corpus delicti, huh? Proceed, prosecution.
The prosecution rests and needs it.
Well, if we only had some clues. Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie, take the stand. Say oh yes 3 times.
Oh, yes.
Okay, the court is now in season. Eddie, do you recall the exact day that the salami sandwich was made up?
I think it was Labor Day. Yeah. Must have been Labor Day because the previous Easter, everybody said, these sandwiches must be left over from Christmas.
What year was that?
Well, I remember Roosevelt had just been elected.
Yes?
And everybody said, Teddy's going to make a wonderful president.
Well, thank you, Eddie. Next witness, Clifton Finnegan. Now, tell me, Finnegan, did you steal the sandwich?
Doc, I got a lullaby.
You mean an alibi?
No, a lullaby. I was asleep in a chair.
Well, that dismembers you, Finnegan. Laurie, I'm stumped.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. Cherchez la femme.
Huh?
Cherchez la femme. Find a woman.
No, Laurie, leave us get the case solved first. You never can tell about these little guys.
Hey, Archie, I have an idea. What about that lady, you know, the bird that whistles the Star-Spangled Banner?
The Star-Spangled Banner? Europa. The case is solved.
Who done it, Arch?
Just a second. Mr. Laurie, your alibi was that you were sitting down and so couldn't reach the sandwich.
Yes?
Mr. Laurie, are you or are you ain't a patriotic citizen?
I am.
When the bird whistled the Star-Spangled Banner, what did you do?
What?
I'll tell you. You stood up and stole the sandwich. Peter Laurie, you're guilty. Justice has trumped. The case of the stolen salami is solved.
It's time to leave Duffy's for the evening, but let's all meet here again next week when our guest will be Ida Lupino. And remember to obtain your copy of Duffy's First Reader. Address your requests to Duffy's First Reader, Post Office Box 67, New York City. Send $1 to cover cost of handling. No stamps will be accepted. That's Post Office Box 67, New York City. In the meantime, if you have a cold...
Remember Minute Rub.
If you need a laxative...
Remember Sal Hepatica.
And if you have a half hour next Tuesday evening at the same time, remember...
Duffy's where the elite meat to eat. Archie speaking. Hello, Duffy. Yeah, that's right. Next week, Ida Lupino. I'm going to ask you to help me get Duffy's First Reader scenario-ized for the movie. Yeah, well, Duffy, by the way, have you sent away for the book? Well, why don't you? It's only a dime. Well, send in a dime to Duffy's First Reader, Post Office Box 67, New York City. Huh? You'd rather wait till it comes out in a cheaper edition. Okay, good night, Duffy.
This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the Blue Network.
If freedom failed. We'd like to take you on a visit to a town that doesn't exist. A town we call Springfield, USA. We'd like to show you how things would be in any American town if communism took over. To illustrate what happens to a man of the arts under a communist regime, Gregory Peck plays the part of Charles Reed in A Matter of Fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the first of a series of chamber music concerts which is being presented by the Springfield County Museum. Today's artists were the Musart Piano Quartet. Future concerts will include the American Art Quartet, the Seidenberg and Rebner Piano Team, the Lillian Stubner Trio, and the Kempinski String Quartet. I hope to see you all here again next Sunday at 3 p.m. Thank you and good afternoon.
Oh, Mr. Fowler.
Oh, good afternoon, Mrs. Havenscourt. Enjoy the program?
I thought it was simply superb. Magnificent. I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed it. Such melody. Such music.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Havenscourt, and I'm sure our future programs will be equally as good. Oh, here's Mr. Reed. Afternoon, chap.
Afternoon, Jim. Nice program.
Thank you. Well, this is Mrs. Havenscourt. I'd like you to meet Mr. Reed, the director of the Springfield Museum.
How do you do?
Oh, I'm so happy to know you. You're all doing such wonderful work bringing all this culture to Springfield.
Well, we're happy if our efforts please you.
Goodness knows this is one place the communists haven't tried to interfere with. Everything else in town has to be supervised. Well, do forgive me if I run off. I must talk with you again sometime.
Good day.
Goodbye. There's appreciation of art for you. That woman knows nothing about music, but she's been here for every series. Likes to talk about it to her friends, I guess.
Well, that remark she made about the communists interfering, I'm afraid they've finally gotten around to us.
Oh, no. What could they possibly find wrong with the museum?
I'm having a meeting in my office tomorrow morning with the rest of the staff. I expect to have the complete directive by then.
Oh, I don't see what they could possibly want with us. Everything in the museum is... Well, it just is.
We'll know more about it tomorrow. Oh, how about coming over for dinner tonight?
Oh, thanks a lot, but not tonight. I'm booked.
Grace?
Who else? Tell Stella I said hello anyhow. See you in your office tomorrow. I'm curious to know about our new directive.
Have some more potatoes, Edward.
No, thanks, Mom.
Charles?
No, I'm finished. What's for dessert?
Ice cream cake. Pour the coffee, will you?
Say, Dad, I heard you and Mom talking about some new directives for the museum. What are they going to do?
Oh, I don't know, son. I'm getting the full information in the morning.
Well, I'll bet they'll do the same thing they're doing to us in history.
What do you mean?
Remember that history book you gave me? The one you used in college?
Yes.
Well, every year when we get our new history text, the facts go farther and farther from what your book says. It's a little confusing.
Here we are. Pass me your plate.
Well, What is it that confuses you?
Well, for example, World War II. I want to read something to you that we were studying today. I'll go get my book.
Poor boy. He's confused.
I don't understand how they think they can twist facts to suit their own purpose. Do they think people will believe them?
Well, look at Edward. All he knows about the war is what he learns in school or what we tell him.
Stella, what are you driving at?
Charles, I really think we shouldn't contradict their teachings.
Stella?
Well, they put him in work brigades night after night as punishment for his refusal to accept their version of history. He's the one who's suffering.
Sorry to be so long. I couldn't find the place I was looking for. Now, here's what it says. Only the heroic struggle of the Soviet armed forces, which fought fascist Germany single-handed, made it possible for them, without any outside help, to completely smash the Hitler war machine and liberate Europe from the German fascist invaders.
Well, doesn't it say anything about a little help from us by means of an invasion?
Yes. Here. The main objectives of the landings by the English and Americans was not so much to defeat the Germans as to forestall the complete liberation of Western Europe by the Soviets.
Give me that book.
Dad, my book!
I'm sorry.
Edward, pick up your book. Charles, I think you'd better rest. You have a meeting in the morning.
Good morning, Margaret. Mr. Reed in?
Oh, good morning, Mr. Fowler. Mr. Reed is in conference with Mr. Davis.
Who?
After the communists took over here, he was appointed to the top position in the Ministry of Information.
Uh-huh.
And from what I've heard, they're going to take over public information services, like libraries and museums.
Well, I can understand why they'd want to take over the libraries. I suppose there's a lot of material they don't want the public to read, but museums, why, everything here is past history. There's nothing they can change here.
Well, they've been at it an awfully long time in there. You want me to find out if Mr. Reed can see you?
No, the meeting of the department heads starts in 10 minutes. I just wanted to see if he was ready.
You might as well sit down. No telling how long they'll be there.
I don't exactly know how I'm going to break this to my staff. These regulations are quite radical.
Nevertheless, they will be made. They are important. That is why I came here personally to present them. In the future, a member of the ministry will make periodic checks to see that you do not deviate.
I see. Morning, Jim. Now, Mr. Davis, I'd like you to meet one of my staff. This is Mr. Fowler, head of our music department. Jim, this is Mr. Davis of the Ministry of Information.
Morning. How do you do? It is unfortunate that some of your programming will have to be changed, Mr. Fowler.
Changed? How do you mean?
Mr. Reed will inform you of the changes. I shall see you again soon, gentlemen. Good morning.
What's he talking about?
Oh, I'd better break it to the whole staff at once. Margaret, I'll be in the meeting hall. No calls until I'm through.
Yes, Mr. Reed.
That pipsqueak. That unspeakable moron.
Lord, as bad as all that?
Do you know anything about Davis's background?
A little.
Well, you won't believe some of the things you're going to hear. And coming from that illiterate, that ignorance...
Hey, you'd better compose yourself, Chuck. I've never seen you this flustered.
Well, I've never been this flustered. I didn't sleep well last night. Blew up at home, and now this.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Please be seated. Gentlemen, I suggest you prepare yourselves for a shock. Or rather, several shocks. All of our schedules here at the museum have been altered. Music, films, talks, and the art exhibition. We'll start with Fowler and his musical program. What was your schedule, Jim?
We were going to present a series of 12 concerts featuring the chamber music of France. You heard the first program yourself yesterday afternoon.
Yes. Effective immediately, the entire program will be discontinued.
Oh, no. Jim, you can't be serious.
I'm perfectly serious. Now for the documentary films, gentlemen. The series of films entitled Fishing Around the World is canceled. An approved film showing the advantages of living on a collective farm will replace the one entitled Speckled Trout Across Canada. I presume that this film is considered subversive. Gentlemen, quiet, please. Now, here are the written regulations governing your various departments. I shall not cover the instructions given us in regard to which paintings we may exhibit, nor on the subjects we may discuss. Your schedules will be altered to conform with these approved programs immediately.
Oh, come in, Fred.
Oh, excuse me, Jim. I didn't know you were using the room.
That's all right. You needn't go. Now, wait till I turn this down a bit. There, that's better. Didn't realize how loud I had it.
Yeah, it's nice. What is it?
Some of the approved music. Shostakovich.
Oh, it sounds okay.
Oh, sure, but how can I put this kind of stuff on in our music rooms? It needs a symphony orchestra, and all the chamber music that's any good is on the kaput list. You can't use it.
I'm having the same trouble with films. I'm going to ask Reed if we can discontinue the series entirely.
Mr. Fowler, Mr. Taylor, would you step out into the hall, please?
Oh, Mr. Reed, I wanted to talk to you. My schedule of films, it seems that... Oh.
Yes. Go on, Mr. Taylor.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you were with Mr. Reed. It wasn't anything.
Mr. Davis wants us to accompany him.
Please, I'd like to hear what Mr. Taylor has to say about his films.
Well, I wanted to ask if we could discontinue the series.
Doesn't the subject matter appeal to you, Mr. Taylor?
It isn't exactly that. It's just that the attendance has fallen off. It hardly seems worthwhile.
Nevertheless, you will continue to show them. And I suggest that you publicize them a little more than you've been doing. That may increase the attendance somewhat.
I shall be happy to comply with any instructions issued by the director, Mr. Reed. After all, it is his prerogative to determine
Mr. Taylor, I should like to remind you that the cultural activities in this city fall under the Ministry of Information, and I am in charge of that department. Mr. Reed serves only to transmit orders from my office.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Davis. I am director of this museum. I don't intend to be a mere figurehead.
I am not interested in your intentions. I shall remind you of one thing. If there is any further deviation from the orders issued by the ministry, you may be even less than a figurehead. Now, I did not come here to argue with you. Just opened a new exhibit, I understand.
Yes, we have. It's pottery and porcelain from various ages.
That's the one. I wish to see it. All of you will please accompany me.
This is the section, Mr. Davis. What in particular did you wish to see?
All of it. It's quite a large room. Good display cabinets.
Good afternoon, Mr. Reed. Gentlemen.
Mr. Crandall, this is Mr. Davis, in charge of culture for Springfield. He wishes to see your pottery and porcelain exhibit.
Oh, that's very nice. We have a wonderful selection from primitive times to the present day. Now, where would you like to start?
It all looks the same to me. This place reminds me of a novelty store.
Oh, but surely you're not serious, Mr. Davis. Well, now, let's start right here with the decorated pottery of ancient Greece and Italy. Now, this one on the lower shelf is a Roman crater or mixing bowl. It bears the design of the seasons and dates back to the 1st century before Christ.
Fine, but I do not have time for you to describe every piece. Let's move more quickly.
Oh, well, now, over here we have English porcelain, and here we see some early Chinese pottery sculpture. Notice the horse from the Tang Dynasty and the rare blue glaze.
That's enough. Let's get on with it.
But Mr. Davis, you're hardly looking at any of the art objects. Why do you keep looking at the walls and ceiling?
I was thinking that it is a shame to waste such good storage space.
Mr. Davis.
Mr. Crandall, I don't think that Mr. Davis cares to see any more.
On the contrary, I find it quite interesting. Do go on, Mr. Crandall.
Oh, well, yes. Now, right here. Well, here is our prize exhibit.
You mean that flower pot?
Mr. Davis, this is a 14th century Syrian vase. Notice the metallic luster and the beautiful blue glaze. And
unlock the case, Mr. Crandall.
Sir?
I'd like to take a closer look.
Well, Mr. Reed, I don't think...
Unlock the case.
Do as he says, Mr. Crandall.
Why, yes, of course. Please, Mr. Davis, don't take it off the shelf. You might...
Now, what is so wonderful about a piece of dishware?
Dishware? Why, for years this was in the Victoria and Albert Museum. We have received hundreds of requests to display it. Now, if you will only look closely at the...
How clumsy of me.
You did that on purpose.
Mr. Reed, I want all of this junk moved out of here. We're going to move the public library in this section of the museum. And, of course, we shall no longer need the services of Mr. Crandall He's dismissed.
That must be them now, Charles. Will you get it?
All right. Well, good evening. Come in, come in.
Hello, Charles.
Evening, Jack.
Here, let me take your coat.
Hello, Grace. Jim, nice to see you. Here, Charles, I'll put the coats away. Give the children a drink, will you?
Oh, children. You make it sound like you two are a couple of old fogies.
No such thing. Here, I have the martinis all mixed. Shall I pour one for you, Stella?
Yes, indeed.
I hear we have a new employee at the museum, Chuck.
You didn't mention that to me, Charles.
Well, he just came to work this morning. I didn't know I was getting him. He was appointed by the ministry. Davis's idea.
Oh, who is he?
His name is Shukov. He's from Russia. Seems they're importing native communists to take over supervision of all the ministries in America. This one's a specialist on museums and art.
Someone else to look out for, as though Davis wasn't bad enough. This one will be on our necks all day long.
No, I don't know. I had quite a talk with him today. Doesn't seem like a bad sort. In fact, when I told him about Davis breaking the vase, he seemed a bit shocked. Oh, he didn't say anything outright, but I think he doesn't quite approve of Davis or his methods.
You be careful of what you say to him. There's no telling what he might do, in spite of how nice he may seem.
Oh, don't worry. I haven't said anything, mostly listened. We're to meet again in the morning to talk about revising the setup of our exhibits.
If they keep it up, there won't be anything left to show.
Well, we can only hope he won't be too harsh.
Well, there's one thing we can be thankful for anyway. With all the purges and disappearances that have been going on, nothing's happened to anyone close to us.
There's little enough to be thankful for in a land that's occupied by a foreign power. Let's hope it doesn't get any worse than it is. Now, this is supposed to be a party. Charles, another martini, please.
You are listening to A Matter of Fact, starring Gregory Peck. A story of the way things could be if communism took over. A picture of what life would be like under a communist regime in an ordinary American town. A town we call Springfield, USA.
This section is where we have our porcelain and pottery exhibits. We're converting it into a library. Another of Mr. Davis's innovations.
It seems to be a rather small area for a library.
Mr. Davis tells us that our library will be considerably thinned out by the time it's ready to move in.
I see. I have enjoyed immensely this tour of your building.
Well, this is all of it.
Huh? Well, then I wonder if I might speak to you alone, Mr. Reed.
Surely. Oh, Jim Davis is coming in this afternoon to look over our exhibits on inventions. I wonder if you'd mind checking there to see if everything's in order?
Oh, sure, be glad.
Now let's step into Crandall's old office, get away from this noise. I have a slight headache.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's nothing serious?
No, I don't know. I've been having them for some time. Please sit down.
Thank you.
Chairs are a bit dusty. Now, what did you wish to speak to me about?
Mr. Reed, some of what I say to you here, I will say at great risk to myself, although I have no notorious revelations to make. You are an intelligent man, and you have a deep appreciation of the arts.
Well, thank you, but what...
In Russia, I held a position similar to that which you hold here. And in Russia, the communists did the same things they are doing here. At first I protested, but I soon found that it was safer to do as they said. By following the party line, I became an authority on museum work, although I was not particularly more qualified than many others.
Mr. Shukov, why are you telling me this?
Because I respect you, Mr. Reed, and because I want you to respect me. There will be things, intolerable things, that I must make you do while I am here. Changes in your work that will repulse you. I hate it, all of it.
You know that you could be killed for making a statement like that.
Yes, I know. But I had to speak to someone. You see, I had spent my whole life in Russia until they sent me here to supervise the alterations in the American museums. Always I had heard about how freedom of expression was denied to the American people.
What caused you to change your mind?
I have been impressed by the truthfulness of your museums. There as they should be, houses of truth in which there can be no place for falsification and counterfeits, things that true scholarship cannot tolerate.
No, so far, we haven't had to falsify anything.
But you will.
I don't understand. What is there in a museum that you can make false? Everything here is simply a matter of fact. You can't change facts.
You would be surprised at some of the facts that communism can change. In fact, you may witness the alteration of some facts this very afternoon when Mr. Davis arrives.
Mr. Davis?
Yes, Mr. Reed. I'm over here in the electrical section.
Sorry I didn't catch you when you came in.
Oh, that's all right. I've been enjoying myself browsing through these displays. They're very amusing.
Amusing?
Yes, I don't know who's been doing your research, Mr. Reed, but I've never seen a more flagrant display of misinformation. Take this exhibit right here, the works of Thomas Alva Edison.
Edison was one of America's greatest inventors.
But what did he invent?
What? Everything you see on display here.
Permit me to show you where you're wrong. This card here, for example. It reads, Edison includes among his first inventions in the field of telegraphy the transmitter and receiver for the automatic telegraph, similar to the model displayed here.
Well, he did invent it.
Mr. Reed, I have with me some notes from the encyclopedia compiled by the Communist Academy of Science. In them, you will find that the transmitter and receiver shown here were invented by Jacobi in St. Petersburg in the year 1845. Mr. Edison wasn't born until 2 years later.
Mr. Davis, I don't believe that, and I don't think you do either.
This is just one of the many errors I find here. It seems that your greatest errors lie in the dates of these inventions. The most important advances in almost every field come after the revolution in Russia. Under communism and its resultant freedom, men of science were able to forge ahead in these many fields. Let us consider this carbon telephone transmitter.
Edison worked with Emil Berliner on that. They invented it together.
The telephone was invented in Russia. I see that you have credited Edison with the invention of the first motion picture machine. This was invented by Boldyrev.
Just what other inventions did the communists inspire, Mr. Davis?
In this department, almost everything you have attributed to these imposters. You know, of course, Vixtasemsky.
No.
Then you are not fit for your job. He invented the photographic method of recording and reproducing sound. Edison had nothing to do with that, nor with sound motion pictures.
I think I've heard enough, Mr. Davis.
There is much more, Mr. Reed. You will see that the proper changes are made. Come with me. Here. A model of the plane in which the first sustained flight was made by the Wright brothers, Poppycock. 25 years before them, Golubev became the first flyer in the world when he flew the first motor-driven plane built by Alexander Mochasky, the father of modern aviation.
May I see those notes, Mr. Davis?
You may. And in your office, you will find a copy of the Academy of Science Encyclopedia to guide you in making the necessary changes in these exhibits.
I see. This is quite interesting. The theory of jet propulsion was originally developed under the Communist Aeronautic League. And the design for the first jet plane was suggested by
Tsiolkovsky.
Yes. Now, this list covers a multitude of subjects. Aeronautics, electricity, transportation, communication.
That is correct. Please see that the guide cards are changed in accordance with the Academy Encyclopedia so that proper credit is given for all these works.
Is that all?
Yes, that is all. Oh, yes. The bust of Benjamin Franklin in the main hallway.
You wish to have the bust removed?
Oh, yes.
Franklin's experiments in electricity were stolen from early Russian scientists.
You knew this all along?
Why, of course. His statue will be removed immediately.
Not removed. Destroyed.
Oh, destroyed, of course. Like this.
Control yourself, Mr. Reed. You will need those notes. You serve no purpose by tearing them up.
Now, let us play safe. Let us destroy all photographs and paintings and statues and books. Burn them!
I don't think that will be necessary. Just a certain few which we find are not in keeping.
And the names of the artists will be removed from our paintings, and we'll add the name of some communists.
Mr. Reed, you've been working too hard. A little rest will do you
And what about painting in the lobby? The one of Adam and Eve. Shall we have it removed? Or has it been established by the ministry that they, too, were communists?
Yeah, don't get excited.
Oh, I have an even better idea. Why don't we just tear down the whole museum, Mr. Davis? This model of the telephone. Edison didn't invent this. Tear down and destroy. Where did communism begin its work of alteration, Mr. Davis? Wasn't it with the churches? All the churches have been closed or destroyed. Like this. What about the symbols of religion? What about God, Mr. Davis? You destroyed the statues and paintings of Jesus Christ himself. And freedom. What have you done to freedom? You've torn it from the people. You ripped the heart and soul out of every freedom-loving country on earth. Ripped the heart out as you ripped fine factories. Destroy. Destroy as you destroy a fragile piece of valuable pottery. Like you destroyed every semblance of decency. Like you destroyed human rights and religion and freedom. Destroy every vestige of decency and honor and faith and life.
Yet on Mr. Reed?
No, I haven't. No one answers at the house.
Well, how about the Ministry of Information?
They said they'd call us if they found out anything. And Mr. Davis said he was coming over this afternoon to see how we were progressing on labeling a new exhibit.
Well, he's going to be unhappy. It's not coming along very well. Nobody wants to put up those lies.
I've been typing a list of the inventions. Listen to what they say. Further information will be forthcoming on other inventions developed under the Communist Academy. These include calculating machines, ice hockey, guerrilla warfare, cobblestone streets, and the bicycle.
Do they actually think anyone would believe that?
Here's another quote. Only in communistic theaters is Shakespeare performed as he was intended to be performed.
Oh. Come in, Mr. Shukov. We were just reading about some of the inventions which were inspired by communism.
It's rather ridiculous, aren't they?
Oh, Mr. Shukov, that's a strange thing for you to say.
Not so strange. Being careful is a waste of time. You see, some days ago I had several long talks with Mr. Reed. He knows how I feel about this sacrilege.
Then you don't follow this line?
No, I never have. But it was necessary to appear to be doing so in order to survive.
Still, it isn't wise to air these opinions so freely.
What difference does it make? The communists have altered the laws of nature to suit themselves. They have made a mockery of history. What good is accomplished when one must go through life wearing blinders, seeing only half-truths?
Mr. Reed felt that way, too.
Yes. But he won't have to cope with the evils of communism anymore.
Why not?
He's insane.
You have just heard what happens to a cultural institution under a communist regime. You have just heard how facts can be altered to suit the purpose of the party in power. You think this could not happen? It did happen. It did happen in the communist-dominated country of Russia. It did happen in the Lenin Museum in Moscow. In this museum, in order to hide true facts, the communists destroyed and counterfeited all material unfavorable to their regime. You have been listening to If Freedom Failed, starring Gregory Peck as Charles Reed in A Matter of Fact, with Raymond Burr featured as Davis. This program has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective, created by Raymond Chandler and brought to you on the air by Pepsodent, and starring MGM's brilliant and dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. Yes, in a recent test, new Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is the favorite 3-to-1.
Families from coast to coast recently compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. They preferred new Pepsodent by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other brand they tried. These families, 3-to-1, said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Yes, in a recent survey, families 3-to-1 said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Get new Pepsodent toothpaste for your family right away. Now we invite you to hear Van Heflin as the Hollywood private eye, Philip Marlowe.
Quiet.
Quiet. You there, Marlowe. Quiet.
Oh, I'm
Quiet, you're on a bell.
All right. Roll them.
Speed.
Action.
Oh, Robin, my dear.
Mary. Maid Mary.
Your very own, my dearest.
Friar Tuck, Little John. Free Englishmen, archers all. It's Maid Marian. Cut. That's it. Print it.
All right. That's a wrap up here. Move over to stage 3.
They were filming a new Technicolor version of Robin Hood over at the big studios on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I was there on salary at the request of the director of the picture. Robin Hood and Maid Marian came off the set. Robin Hood was a magnificent sight in his Lincoln green and carrying that big English long bow and quiver of arrows. Maid Marian in her slinkily cut medieval white gown was something to make more than an arrow whistle. They spied me and walked over to me quickly.
Mr. Philip Marlowe?
Yeah, that's right.
My name is Seward Spencer.
Yeah, I know.
This is my leading lady, Ginny Kane.
Yeah, I know.
How do you do, Mr. Marlowe?
Yeah, how do you do, Miss Kane?
Let's go over to stage 9 and talk, shall we, Marlowe?
Talk? Every time I open my mouth on one of these sets, somebody hollers, quiet.
Quiet!
You see? Whatever happened to free speech in America? In Hollywood, anyway.
Stage 9 isn't a set. It's a little cafe across the street on Santa Monica.
Oh. A lot to talk about, Marlowe.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go. See, Marlowe, Demetrio Sador, my director, hired you for what is to me a very embarrassing reason.
It seems I'm supposed to protect you.
And I feel very well able to take care of myself.
Well, it's not safe with that half-mad brother of yours at large.
Did Mr. Sador tell you the whole story, Marlowe?
I said for me to get it from you.
Well, it was my fault that we ever sent for Caxton. But he's my brother, and he looks like me, and he's an absolutely terrific archer.
Seward here is much better looking, though.
Seward is the bow, but Caxton is the bowman, huh?
Well, they could have faked the scenes where I'm supposed to perform marvels of archery, but, well, we were all against that. Then I remembered my brother, a sporting goods salesman in Philadelphia, and a champion archer.
And so you suggested that they send for Caxton to double for you in the shooting scenes, huh?
Yes, in spite of the fact that Caxton hates the sight of me.
Go on.
I told Mr. Sador he could get the shots he needed with Caxton doubling for me. I'd go to my lodge at Big Bear during those 3 days.
Caxton always resented Seward here because he made good and Caxton didn't.
Now, let's see. There was something about Caxton leaving Hollywood, only not leaving Hollywood. What about that?
Well, he never picked up the return ticket that the studio reserved for him at the airport.
So you figure that Caxton's still in town, then, huh?
Definitely.
You think he'd pick a fight with you?
He picked a fight with Freddie Cole.
Who's Freddie Cole?
A perfectly harmless makeup man on the lot. And all Freddie asked was for Caxton to wear brown contact lenses over his eyes so he'd look like Seward here for the medium close-ups.
My brother has blue eyes, you see.
And he wouldn't wear the brown contact lenses, huh?
No, he refused flatly. He said, let my big-shot brother wear blue contact lenses.
What an unreasonable creature.
I don't know. It sounds reasonable to me. You said that he fought with the makeup man, huh?
Yes, but not for long. Freddie's half Caxton's size, but he knocked my brother kicking.
Ooh. I suppose your brother swore to get him for that.
How did you know?
I don't know. Instinct.
Philip Marlowe.
Philip Marlowe. Here, Mr. Sater, here.
Oh, Mr. Marlowe, this is terrible. Simply terrible. They just found Fred Cole in Sherwood Forest. He's been shot.
Shot? What? How? Who?
I don't know who. But there's 2 feet of arrows sticking out of his back.
Oh.
You better show me where Fred is, Mr. Sater. Come on, let's go on the double. Sherwood Forest is a wood where Doug Fairbanks Sr. made the silent version of Robin Hood, and they've called it that ever since. Freddie Cole was lying across the steps of the trailer that served as a field makeup room in Sherwood Forest. Mr. Sater's information was not correct. There were not 2 feet of arrows sticking out of Freddie's back. It was less than 18 inches. A bow of terrific power had done that job. Another trailer stood across the clearing from Freddie's body about 100 yards away. I walked through the clearing and knocked on the door.
Yes, sir?
The name's Philip Marlowe. I'm a private detective.
Oh, it's about poor Freddie.
That's right.
Come in.
Thank you. Well, I see.
This trailer's my workshop, Mr. Marlowe.
You have a regular arsenal of bows and arrows in here, haven't you?
Yes, sir. I make and repair bows and arrows for the men in the picture.
Say, it's about 100 yards from here to where Freddie was shot, isn't it?
Just about.
Did you ever service the bow of Caxton Spencer, the Star's brother?
I did.
Powerful weapon?
Very.
Good shot?
Very.
Bad man?
Yes, very.
Okay, well, thanks, Dad. I'll see you.
What was that you said?
I said I'll see you.
You called me something.
Oh, Dad.
Yes. So long, Mr. Marlowe.
So long, Dad.
So long, son. So long.
A murder on this lot is bad enough, but an unsolved murder is worse. I am very worried.
About your star, Seward Spencer,
Among other things, Mr. Marlowe.
Well, why doesn't he leave town while this homicidal brother of his is still around?
Oh, he wouldn't go even if I asked him. Besides, every day lost now means money. And the bank wouldn't tolerate any more delays making this picture.
Any more delays? Have there been delays?
I started making Robin Hood 4 years ago. I got the sets built and then had to stop because I couldn't find the ideal man to play Robin Hood.
What was the ideal type for the part, Mr.
Well, he had to be romantic, good-looking, powerful.
And it would have been helpful if he could shoot a longbow, huh?
Yes.
Well, Seward Spencer couldn't shoot a longbow 4 years ago any better than he can today. Now, why didn't you hire him 4 years ago?
He wasn't a big enough star then.
Oh, he's big enough now, though.
Tremendous. He's another Gable.
So he doesn't have to know how to shoot a longbow now.
No, especially since his brother, who resembles him closely, could shoot a longbow.
Tell me, where did Spencer stay while his brother was whooping it up here at the studio?
Spencer had a lodge up at the Big Bear. Why? Any ideas?
Maybe. Look, Spencer is known all over the world, right?
That is correct.
Now, his double would have a hard time hiding out unless he hid in places where people expected Seward to be, right?
I hadn't thought about it.
Where exactly is Spencer's lodge at Big Bear?
You think his brother may be up there, posing as Spencer?
I don't know. It's an idea. Where did you say that lodge was now? It was a peachy hunch, and I was proud of it. Proud. Only... No one answered my knock when I got up to Spencer's lodge at Big Bear. Getting in without a key was relatively small punkins, but it didn't pay off until I opened a closet door under a staircase. A body didn't fall out, but something else fell out, and I grabbed it before it hit the floor. It was a beautiful example of the bowmaker's art, curved and recurved and polished like glass under the thin layer of dust. I looked closely at the maker's name because I was beginning to get an idea. And then the grandfather of all hornets zinged past my ear. A fraction of an inch from my cheek quivered the shaft of a wicked-looking arrow, its steel head almost buried in the solid oak paneling behind me. A man was standing in the open doorway.
Now then, Mr. Marlowe.
Hey, what's the idea?
Make a move towards your gun, Marlowe, and I'll pin your hand to the wall.
Caxton.
Yes.
Caxton Spencer, right? Yeah. He was a little taller than his celebrated brother. His cheeks were a little more sunken, and his eyes, unlike his brother's, were an icy, glassy, deadly blue. He shot that second arrow as fast as I could think. Believe it or not, that second arrow split the first one right down to the head. There was another thing about this lad that was different from Seward Spencer. He could shoot a longbow. Brother, could he shoot a longbow.
Well, aren't you going to reach for your gun?
Well, Robin Hoodlum of Sherwood Forest, huh?
You know what might be fun? A contest. The old versus the new. Medieval archer versus 20th century gunman.
You know, you're just as crazy as your brother thinks you are.
I see Seward's been talking too much again.
Look, Caxton, tell me just one thing.
You've got your archers mixed up. I'm Robin Hood, remember? Not William Tell.
What was this dusty bow doing in the closet?
That's mine.
Well, how did it get in this closet?
I was out here 4 years ago.
Oh, you and your brother were a little friendlier then, huh?
My brother wasn't such a big shot then.
I'm beginning to get it. Your brother sent for you 4 years ago to teach him how to shoot. You were looking for someone to play Robin Hood. Your brother wasn't a big enough name then, but he figured if he learned to shoot a longbow well enough, it might make up for other shortcomings.
Not bad, genius.
The Robin Hood picture was shelved before Seward could learn to shoot, so now he had to send for you again. But you had to quarrel with Freddie Cole and plant an arrow between his shoulder blades.
Maybe somebody was celebrating Arbor Day and planting things.
It's very amusing, Caxton. But let me say this.
Don't say anything. Just get off this case, understand?
Else what?
Else this. Only next time, 4 inches more to the left. Catch?
I catch.
All right, don't forget it. Just don't you forget it. So long.
So long. Keep your bows clean. Hello, operator. Operator. This is a police call. Connect me with the Santa Monica Boulevard studios of Rheingold Pictures. I want to talk to Mr. Seward Spencer. It's a matter of life and death. And that's no mere figure of speech.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. In a recent test, New Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. Families all over America say New Pepsodent is their favorite. It's a fact. Families 3-to-1 say New Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter.
Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Paynes and other families who are asked to compare New Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. Get New Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing Irium. Get it for your family without delay. We continue with The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Producers of The Romance of Rosie Ridge, starring Van Johnson.
I couldn't reach Seward Spencer at the studio to tell him that his brother was around and on the warpath. I hung up for a second. And I tried something else just for fun, just another hunch. Hello, operator. Give me Western Union, please. It was late afternoon, and therefore too late to telephone Philadelphia on account of the time difference. I sent my telegram and gave my apartment address back in Hollywood for the answer that I expected in the morning. Then I drove back to Hollywood. It was dark when I gave up trying to locate Seward Spencer, but a bright moon was climbing the sky by the time I got to the archery trailer on location in Sherwood Forest.
Yeah?
Hello, Dad.
Oh, Mr. Marlowe. Come in, Philip. Come in.
Thanks.
I'll leave the door open for a breath of air.
If you don't mind a late visitor.
Mind? I'm crazy about it. Gets mighty lonely, Philip.
Yeah, it would. That wilderness.
Yeah, it does any place for old people. Oh, can I offer you some hot coffee, son?
Well, thanks, Dad. I'd appreciate it, but I'd rather have some information out of you.
What is it, my boy?
Tell me, is it possible for an expert archer to conceal the fact that he's deaf with a longbow?
I think so.
Well, can he conceal the fact that he can handle a bow at all?
Oh, no. No matter how clumsy he was, he'd be too clumsy.
Oh, I get it. Like a guilty man trying to look innocent. He overdoes it. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, Dad, I'm going to pick up a bow, and I'm going to string it, put an arrow in it, and draw it. Now, I want you to stop me at any point where you can tell that I can't shoot a bow.
All right.
All right, I pick up this bow here.
Well, you can stop now.
Well, I didn't do anything yet.
You picked up the bow, and you're holding it upside down.
You mean there's an upside and a downside to these things? Does it matter?
It matters very much.
You might at least have played along with me a minute. After all, even a detective has his pride.
You asked me to stop you, and I did.
Oh, sure. I was just kidding you, Dad. Dad, is anything wrong?
No, nothing wrong. Excuse me. It's just that everybody else calls me Pop.
Oh, well, look now, if you'd rather I call you
No,
that,
I hate it. It's what smart, strong young people call old fellas like me. Pop. Treating us like children. Old folks ain't idiots.
Who says they are, Dad?
No, Dad, that's different. It's got respect and love in it.
Well, that's what we keep on calling you.
You see, I haven't any children. Not anymore.
Oh?
I had a daughter, but not anymore.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's not what you think. She's alive. She just didn't want anybody to know she had me for a father.
What?
Just like she didn't want anybody to know she was married to a plain makeup man at the studio. It might hurt her career, her doggone old career.
Dad, is your daughter in pictures?
She's in this picture. She's playing Maid Marian.
Jenny Kane is your daughter?
Yes, and I'm telling you because you treat an old man respectful.
Well, how could Jenny be your daughter and be so different?
Well, people are like bows, son. The same flesh and bone and blood, but entirely different. Now, look at this graceful little bow here. English yew wood. Pulls only 40 measly pounds, but it'll shoot as straight and as far as that 85-pound bow made out of the same material. Why? Workmanship and design. In people, it's called character.
And your girl Jenny got too big for Freddie, your makeup man husband, huh?
Too big for him and too good for me.
Dad, is Jenny in love with Seward Spencer?
Son, the girl's vain and proud and foolish, but she didn't kill Freddie. She couldn't pull that size bow.
But you just said that a 40-pound man will do the work of much heavier bows.
She didn't do it, boy.
All right. Look, you've seen Seward shoot after a fashion. Does he handle a bow like a man who could do better but is concealing his real skill? Dad?
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking if Seward Spencer loved my girl, but she already had a husband that had to be got rid of.
I'm asking you if Seward is faking his clumsiness with a longbow.
No, son. The lad just can't handle a bow. He's the world's greenest archer.
Well, then that puts the rap right back on his brother Brett and Fred Cole.
Marlowe! I thought I told you something a few hours ago.
I spun around. Caxton Spencer stood outside of the trailer in the yellow light flowing out of the doorway. He stood there casually balancing that powerful longbow in his left hand. I wondered how he'd found me here, of all places, hours after he'd left me at his brother's mountain lodge. He took a step near the trailer door.
I told you to get off the case, didn't I?
Why, it just slipped my mind. Now, what do you want?
I went back to the lodge after you left.
Yeah,
You sent a telegram to Philadelphia.
maybe.
Not maybe, you did. I got the reply.
That reply wasn't going to come in until morning into my apartment.
Slight error, genius. You wired the public directory of Philadelphia asking about Caxton Spencer. It so happens they have a department that's open all night, and they wired back to the lodge. Funny thing, Marlowe. They say that no one named Caxton Spencer lives in Philadelphia.
How did you find me here?
I called the big director, Mr. Sador. He said you might be out here.
That's funny. I knew that Sador never would have told that voice my whereabouts. He'd have called the police. I looked with new interest at Caxton standing just outside of the trailer doorway. My examination got down to his shoes. The shoes were almost new, and his ankles were a full inch and a half above the tops of his Oxfords. Caxton Spencer was wearing elevator shoes to make him look taller.
Well, figured me out yet, Marlowe?
I put it all together. I put it together fast. Caxton moved. He whipped an arrow into his bow, and my left leg shot out and kicked the door of the trailer shut. I jumped to the window and opened fire.
Did you get him, son?
No, I missed him. Missed him a mile. He's beat it now.
Can't you see him anywhere?
No. Yeah. I don't know. The moonlight out there in those bushes. Turn out the lights.
Got us on the hook, ain't he?
Turn out the lights and get down on the floor.
Got him. Got him.
Get down. Get down.
All right. All right.
Sador, he can't shoot through these walls. He's good, but he's not that good.
Don't know, son.
What do you mean you don't know?
Might. He could get to us even in here.
With a bow and arrow?
He's smart and he's mean and he knows his way around this here forest.
Can't shoot through this trailer.
He can shoot through the windows.
Well, we don't have to stand at the windows.
He don't have to hit us.
I don't get it.
We got some scenes a while back while Caxton was with us. Robin Hood's men shooting flaming arrows into some old castle.
Flaming arrows?
Arrows soaked in pitch and set on fire. Old medieval custom.
Oh, fine.
And there's plenty of that pitch still around here.
Where?
Out yonder, barrels of it. What did I tell you? There it is. There's the first of your flaming arrows.
Come on, let's put it out.
He'll pick us off if we try that.
Well, then let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Look, I'll go out first. You follow me and lose yourself someplace. You understand?
Old folks ain't idiots.
All right, follow me. Now keep low.
Right after you, son.
Keep low now.
Yes.
All right, run for it. We dashed into the moonlight. A hornet clipped my cheek and wanged into the wall of the trailer. Run, Dad! Lose yourself!
See you later, son. See you later.
I dropped to the ground and didn't move, but my eye measured the angle of that last arrow in the side of the trailer and the direction it had come from. I raised myself on my elbow and fired back. Wise guy, huh? Oh, that dirty... Reload, Marlowe. Come on, reload.
Just furnishing you an extra thrill, Marlowe.
You...
Or is that one getting stale, Marlowe?
2 shots left. 2 shots.
I've got 2 more arrows, Marlowe. That means 1 more is for fun, and the last one's for real, huh?
1 shot left. 1 shot. 1.
Now, Marlowe, any last words? Any brave, quotable quotes? Any remarks for posterity?
You cheap 10, 20, 30 ham! I waited for the laughter. The taunting, baked ham laughter. It didn't come. I waited with my empty gun clenched in my fist. He was coming toward me. He knew I'd fired 14 shots and that I was finished. He could hit me from any distance. Why was he moving in on me? What was new? What was dirty with Caxton now? I jumped to my feet and drew back my arm to throw my gun at the first thing that walked out of those bushes ahead of me.
Don't throw it, son.
What?
Hold it.
Oh, Dad.
You all right, son?
Where's Caxton?
Dead.
I got him then. With my last shot, I got him.
Hate to disappoint a smart young lad like you, son.
Oh, you said he's dead?
I didn't say you killed him.
What?
He's got a 28-inch arrow in his chest. Looks good, too.
How did you...
When I followed you out of the trailer, I grabbed some arrows in that 40-pound bow. I've been hunting, son.
And let me tell you, for what? There never was a Caxton Spencer.
Do tell.
Caxton Spencer fought against wearing brown contact lenses over his eyes for a very good reason. He was already wearing blue contact lenses. Seward Spencer never had a brother. He'd learned to shoot a longbow 4 years ago, but he kept it a secret when they finally decided to film Robin Hood. He had a better use for his skill with a bow. He was already planning Fred Cole's murder and invented a non-existent brother to pin the murder on.
Clever, very clever. I knew it all the time.
What?
That's what.
Well, then why did you tell me that Seward Spencer couldn't shoot?
Seward Spencer corrupted my girl and turned her against her rightful husband and her daddy. I wanted to get him myself.
And you did.
Fair and square and in defense of an officer of law.
That's right.
Well, I see that flaming arrow trick fizzled. It went out.
Oh, yeah, so it did.
Like to step inside and have that coffee now, son?
I sure would.
Then come on.
You know, like you said, Dad.
Watch your step.
Just like you told me. Old folks aren't fools. Not by a long shot, Dad.
You have just heard Van Heflin, starring in the mystery series Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Van Heflin will return in just a moment.
Men, here's an important announcement. News about a sensational hair tonic discovery. It's Trim Hair Tonic, made by Pepsodent. For the first time, science has created a hair tonic with pure virgin olive oil. There's no finer hair and scalp conditioner. Yes, because it contains pure virgin olive oil, Trim Hair Tonic conditions your scalp as it grooms your hair. Get new Trim Hair Tonic during the big 1-cent introductory sale at toilet goods counters now. 2 60-cent bottles, $1.20 value, only 61 cents. Ask for Trim Hair Tonic with olive oil.
Now, concerning next week, here again is Van Heflin.
Philip Marlowe paused in the stealthy darkness of the deserted brewery. There was invisible death lying in wait for him down in the bottom of the unused fermentation vat. But a very visible, dancing death was approaching behind him, dancing and weaving. And at the 2 risks, Philip Marlowe, unarmed and stunned, preferred the invisible one at the bottom of the great wooden vat.
Tonight's story was written by Milton Geiger, based on the famous character and modern detective fiction, Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler. The original music was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. This is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at the same time to another exciting mystery on the adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with the distinguished cast.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Hello there. This is the family doctor. Doc. Bill Benson, what do you mean banging me on the back with that big ham of yours? You ought to know better than to do me like that. Gosh, the Friday. What if I had a weak heart or something?
Oh, you ain't got a weak heart, Doc. No, sir. Yours is the strongest, biggest, and warmest heart in Cedarton.
Huh? Me?
Yes, sir.
Well, what are you talking about? Say, listen, Bill, just because you're chief of police here, don't you think you can go around slapping people on the back and scaring them half to death, besides insulting their physical condition?
Yeah, I get you, Doc. Well, going in the doctoring business must be kind of slow right now.
What do you mean?
Well, you was standing out here in front of Rankin's hardware, just staring into the front window. What you looking at so hard, Doc?
Well, I was just looking at that spade there, thinking it was about time to dig up the old bulbs and separate them for next season.
By golly, I think you're right, Doc. Yeah, it won't be long now. Gosh, how the time do fidget, as the man says.
What man?
Oh, well, how do I know what man? Say, that is a powerful good-looking spade, ain't it? Looks like it could stand a heap of wear and tear. Yep. And I'll have to be seeing just about one of them pretty soon. Well, Doc, as things as slow in your line as they is in mine, why, we ain't had a particle of excitement for nigh on to a month now.
Well, that speaks pretty well for the folks of Cedarton.
Yeah, but do. It sure do. You been keeping busy, Doc?
Say, now, you listen to me, Chief Benson. You've been standing here for 5 minutes trying to pump me about my practice. What's the idea?
Oh, it's just being a good copper to keep your eyes, ears, and nose open, Doc. You know, never can tell when you'll pick up a clue. Yep, I see the heart burning.
Oh, stop yawning or talking or something.
Yeah, well, I just said I ain't seen the light of burning in your office of late.
No.
Ain't been so active of recent, huh?
All right, I'll tell you. No, I haven't been busy. I haven't had the patient for 3 days. I don't have any outstanding accounts payable, and I don't expect to have a patient for a long time, maybe 10 years.
Oh, say, look, Doc.
Huh? What do you see?
That young fellow over there across the street.
Yeah? Well, what about him?
He looks a heap suspicious to me.
What? Oh, Bill Benson, you're talking through your hat.
Well, I don't know now. I've been watching him for a couple of days. He don't do nothing except walk around the streets all day long. And I ain't been able to find him at nights at all.
That must have made you mad.
Yeah. What? No. Didn't do nothing of the kind. I'm just looking out for the safety of the citizens of this city. I aim to keep the peace of Cedarton, and one sure way to do it is to keep my eye on all suspicious characters.
Well, now, I can't say that I see anything particularly suspicious about a young man walking around the streets, even if he is a stranger to town.
I'm going to find out anyhow. Hey there!
Bill, you don't want to do that.
Quiet, Doc. I'll handle this. Hey, you young fella.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Come on over here.
Yes, sir.
I'll find out about him soon enough.
Did you call me, sir?
Yes, I did.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from, young fella?
From back east.
Where back east?
Oh, mostly New York State.
What's your name?
Chick Harper.
Chick? What do you mean, Chick?
Well, my real name is Charles, but they've always called me Chick.
They? Who are they?
Well, I don't know. Everybody. All my friends.
Bill, what are you trying to do?
Oh, wait a minute, Doctor. I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
The bottom of what? Have I done anything I shouldn't?
I don't know, young fella. That's what I'm going to find out. What are you doing in Cedarton?
Well, I'm going to get a job.
Job? Where do you expect you'll find a job in Cedarton? All the jobs are taken.
A friend of mine's going to get me one.
Friend? What friend?
Johnny Kemp.
Oh, I see. Johnny Kemp. Ain't he the young fella that was acquitted of bank robbery a while back?
Bill,
Hold your horses, Doc. Hold your horses. Well, young fella, Chick Harper, you call yourself. Just let me tell you this. We're peace-loving folks here in Cedarton, and we don't stand no monkey business. That's why I'm chief of police.
Yes, sir.
Anybody that wants to come here and make his home is perfectly welcome.
Yes, sir.
But let the fella that wants trouble come to our town, and, well, he'll get it. We got ways of taking care of him. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's all, young fella. You can go your way.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Doc?
I'd say, Chief of Police Benson, that as a committee of one, you certainly made that boy welcome to Cedarton.
That's all right now. We won't have any misapprehensions about what's expected of him if he expects to live here.
No, I guess you won't.
Now, let me see. What was we talking about?
Talking? Well, I don't know that I...
Oh, I recollect now. We was discussing the general health of the townsfolk.
Oh, yes, so we were.
And I said that I ain't seen you been none too busy of late.
Yeah.
And you said
that the folks in Cedarton are all perfectly healthy, and I'm glad of it.
Yeah, so you was, Doc, so you was. But that ain't it at all.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean that you're just too good a sawbones, that's all. It's you that keeps them healthy.
Oh, fiddle.
Fiddle nothing. It's true. Why, listen, do you know what you should ought to do? You should ought to go around and give them all a dose of something or other to make them sick once in a while, just to keep busy.
Well, Bill, I won't have to worry about you coming around to see me pretty soon.
Yeah. Huh? Me? What darnation you mean? What are you talking about?
How much do you weigh, Bill?
Me? Oh, I don't know, about 195, I reckon.
Oh, go on.
Well, I do.
Yeah, all of that, and a good heap more.
What?
Why, if you don't weigh at least 225 pounds, I'll be a cast-off corn cob.
Well, what if I do? What if I weigh 325 pounds? What about it?
What about it?
Listen, Doc. What are you trying to tell me? I know you. When you laugh like that, you got something on your mind.
Well, Bill, I'll tell. I don't want to scare you.
Go ahead, Doc.
Did you ever hear of Fatty Hart?
Fatty Hart? Good gosh, Doc, no.
Don't laugh. It's very serious.
Oh, serious, huh? Fatty Hart, well, what does it mean, Doc?
It means that men of your age and your weight are often afflicted with the disease of the heart, which comes from the subcardiac region being surrounded with portions of fat, which eventually induce a slowing down of the heart action, and finally, well, death. Yep. That often happens. Say, Bill, you haven't noticed yourself breathing heavily lately, have you?
Well, yes, I have, Doc.
And have you noticed yourself finding it more difficult to get up from the dinner table?
Well, yes, I have, to tell the truth.
Uh-huh.
What is it, Dr. Adams? Am I a sick man?
I'm afraid you might be. If you aren't now, Bill, you might be soon.
Oh, my.
Just watch those symptoms, and if you note any aggravation of them, well, you'd better give me a call, Bill. Yeah, better give me a call.
Yes, well, Doc, I think I'd best be getting back to the station house, or maybe I'll go on home. Don't look as though there'd be nothing doing in town today.
No, it doesn't, Bill.
No, but, well, so long, Doc.
So long, Bill. And don't forget, if you notice any of those symptoms, don't forget to call me.
The booming of message drums brings Africa to you. Africa, the cradle of nature, where Mother Earth steams in her primeval sleep, sweating under a load of superstition, mystery, and witchcraft. Africa is a land of great silences and thunderous upheavals. A land where anything can happen. Listen. Those drums bring you a story of Africa. Professor Anton Edwards, while heading a little scientific expedition into French Equatorial Africa, comes into possession of a mummified head that talks. He believes it to speak the language of the lost Atlanteans and will guide them to where a remnant of that race may be found. With the professor are his daughter Lorna, Jack Martin, his assistant, and Nguru, a huge native prince. Lorna was found wandering in a trance, and in effecting her rescue, a sacred snake was killed. The snake worshippers gathered to avenge the killing of one of their gods, but the party hastily broke camp and marched. Now, believing they have thrown off pursuit, they decide to camp again.
This open space looks all right, Jack. What do you think?
Couldn't be better, sir. But I don't see why we turned off due west for the last 10 miles. There should have been plenty of water on our original course.
Well, never mind that for a moment. I'll explain the move in due time. Ondaleo, Mzego. All right, Unguru. Make panga.
Aye, Buana. Are you all right, Lorna?
Yes, I'm okay. Is this just another short rest, or have you people decided to call it a day?
We camp right here, my dear.
Well, thank goodness for that. I thought we were on an endurance hike.
It was absolutely necessary, Lorna. You see, those snake worshippers had to be outdistanced.
Yes, Jack explained it all to me as we came along.
Well, we're in another chief's territory now, and I don't think they'll cross into it to follow us.
But yesterday you distinctly said that we were going north, and we've been walking west for hours.
Oh, so you noticed that, too. You're getting bush-wise, young lady.
Well, this is as good a time as any to tell you why we turned off our original course. Here, this basket with the talking head down somewhere, Jack. Careful.
I've got it, sir. But here comes its keeper. Shall I turn it over to Nguru?
Yes. He knows what to do with it.
There you are, Nguru.
Uh-huh.
Treats that thing as if it were a baby.
It is a baby to him. None of the other natives will go near it. Here, let's sit down here until the tents are up. Get your diary out, Jack, and make some notes as I go over the day's event.
Just a moment. All set, sir.
We left camp about 3:30 a.m. and forced marched up the Bakari. It's one of the tributaries of the Shari River and empties into Lake Shad. Then, as you both observed, we turned west and followed the river. You remember just before leaving our last camp that the talking head kept calling?
Do I? Every time that thing cackles, I get cold shivers all over.
Yes, I remember, sir. You sent me off to see that Lorna was all right.
Yes. Well, with the aid of my notebook on the language of Atlantis, I was able to follow some new directions the head was giving. But that isn't all. As far as I was able to decipher it, the head spoke of a small carved snuff box, the property of a witch doctor. The carvings on this box will open the remainder of the country to us like a book.
Yes, I've heard of these carvings that work wonders with the chiefs. But they're usually in the form of a stick, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Where did you say you would find this snuff box?
Well, that's the funny part of it. I didn't really expect to find the place at all. The translation runs something like this. By the little water, feeder of the great stream that makes the mirror of the skies, lies a fertile mound that rises above the head of a horned horse. Now, a horned horse must be a rhinoceros. The mirror of the skies is Lake Shad, and the Bakari is the first little water we came to.
But the rhinoceros head, how in the world can you link that up with it?
I've got it. There it is. That huge boulder over there. Look at the flat head and the curved horn on the snout.
You're right, Lorna. That's just what I thought. And you can imagine the thrill I had when we rounded the bend and I saw that. There's the fertile mound, that wooded hill. And the witch doctor evidently lives at the top.
It sounds like the directions to a pirate's treasure. I'm thrilled to death. Where are you going, Jack?
I'm going over to that rock and see if it was carved by a hand or not. Maybe there's some writing on it.
Well, I'll go with you.
All set, Guru?
Aye, Buana. Tent him all ready. Plenty water all time. Shinzi boil 'em food drink one time.
Good. You stay here in camp. I'm going for a walk.
Buana go walk for hill, huh?
Yes, I'm going up that hill. Why?
Buana watch 'em thorn. Him plenty thorn on the hill. Buana go for catch 'em sleep. Make 'em for hill tomorrow, huh?
No, we can't wait for tomorrow. I'll go now.
Guru walk for hill along. Huh?
No, you old scoundrel. You stay here in camp. I'm going for a talk with the witch doctor. Boss, I have spoken.
Aye, Buana. Him witch doctor plant 'em plenty thorning ground. Buana nenda poli.
Lorna, it's too rough even for native sculpture.
It's a funny kind of rock. It seems. Must be beautiful when the sun shines on it.
I guess the sun only hits it directly first thing in the morning. It's a kind of volcanic rock. Must have been here for thousands of years.
Believe me, I'll be up early in the morning to see it. It must look marvelous in a sunrise.
It does, Lorna.
Oh, hello, sir. This thing is perfectly natural as far as I can see.
Yes, appears to be.
Isn't it a pretty color, Father?
Yes. There's a city in Arabia that's built of the same stone. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't say built, I should say carved.
That's what they call the Rose City, isn't it?
Yes, but it's deserted now. Has been for hundreds of years. Oh, Lorna, I brought your camera over. I'd like some pictures of this rock.
All right, dear. You want them taken head on?
Yes, one that way and one as near profile as you can get.
All right.
I'm just wondering if the carving on this rock is natural, Jack. Did you find any writing on it?
Well, there's something around this side underneath the snout. See up there? Looks as if a bird had walked across wet cement.
Yes, by Jove. Yes. Hey, this is interesting, Jack.
Do you make anything of it, sir?
Yes. Yes, I do. Where's that confounded notebook of mine?
In your top pocket.
Oh, yes. Yes, to be sure. Now, let me see. Just as I thought. Seeks. Yes, that's right. Seeks. Write this down as I translate it, will you?
Yes, sir.
To him who seeks the key. There's a period there, Jack.
Right.
The horned horse hath no eyes, yet he runs, or proceeds. Proceeds straight and swift to his ending. No, to his destination. Another period.
Yes?
The way, the way is open. Read that over, please.
To him who seeks, the horned horse hath no eyes, yet he proceeds straight and swiftly to his destination. The way is open.
Yes, that's it. Now, what more proof would you want, Jack?
What were you two staring up at just now?
Your father just deciphered some carvings. There they are up there. What does it mean, sir?
Well, the part that says, horned horse hath no eyes, is plain. The rhinoceros is very short-sighted, yet he runs straight to his destination. That means he has a very finely developed sense of smell. He relies on his nose. The way is open, so we follow the rhino's nose, see?
It points to the top of that hill.
Precisely. Did you get the pictures, Laura?
Yes, I put the camera back in the store box.
Good. Well, children, do you feel too worn out for an adventure, eh?
What do you mean you're going after that snuff box now, up that hill?
Yes.
Well, I should say I'm not tired. I'll admit I was until you told me about the little box. But I couldn't rest now until I've seen it.
And you, Jack?
All set, sir. Whatever you say.
You were traveling all day yesterday, and you had no sleep last night. I won't blame you in the least if you stay behind, my boy.
Not at all, Professor. If there's anything to be learned, I want to be there. I've only met one witch doctor. Are they all as decrepit as that one?
No, Jack, they're not all old. But let's start out now. We still have an hour's daylight. No, some of these witch doctors are quite young fellows and well-informed. Those are the dangerous ones, usually. They've learned quite a few of the white man's vices and surprisingly little of his virtues.
Well, how could they come in contact with white people in such remote parts, Father?
The old witch doctor sends his protege down, or up country, as the case may be, to learn all about the white man's magic. The young man usually lands among the worst of our type, and combining that knowledge with what the witch doctor teaches him, it mostly makes a bad combination.
Are they easy to deal with?
Mostly, yes. I've got something in my pocket that will put this fellow in a trading mood, I think.
Why, what is it, sir?
A cigar lighter and a can of fluid. Should help him make some new magic for quite a while.
Well, I hope he doesn't try to drink the fluid and then smoke. He'd start a forest fire in these woods in no time.
Isn't it dark in here? The trees shut out all the light. It's a bit spooky, too.
Yeah, it's darker than I thought it would be. Wait a minute. You better not go any further. I just remembered something.
Something you should have brought, sir?
No. Nguru warned me to look out for thorns on this hill. That means danger or watch your step. I'd forgotten all about it.
Well, what did he say altogether?
Well, he said to go softly. Nguru doesn't usually get squeamish unless he has some good reason for it. He said the witch doctor plants thorns and for us to poly-poly. That means to go slowly. Every time I don't take his advice, I run into trouble.
Well, we've got boots on, so what difference does it make if the old witch doctor did plant a few thorns?
Thorns is just an expression, my dear. It means danger of any kind.
Oh.
Jack, do you see that funny-looking branch bent into the pathway from that tree?
You mean straight ahead?
Yes. I don't like the looks of it somehow. I'm going to throw a stone at its base, and if it's a trap, the impact will spring it.
But why should there be a trap on the path?
Well, that's just what I want to find out. If it is as I suspect, then we're in the Juju Grove, which is sacred ground.
Oh!
Well,
what's the matter, Lorna?
Oh.
What did you see?
Wrong. Don't stand there pointing, child.
A face, a horrible face, staring at me out of those bushes.
Well, what did it look like? Was it a native?
Yes, I think so, but it was all painted or scarred.
We'd better get out of this place, sir.
Wait a minute. I want to see if that really is a trap. Watch it. See if I can hit the base. Great Scott, murderous invention.
If anybody had touched the thing, it had been speared a dozen times.
Yes. We'd better get out of here and send a message up to this murderous bird by drum talk.
Come on, then. I've got a feeling we're being watched. Look out behind you, sir.
In heaven's name of...
Postman's been.
Which one? Was it lovely young Jamie?
Yes, although it seemed like he was in a bit of a hurry today. He just threw the letters on the doorstep and ran off.
Oh, I adore Jamie, the golden boy in the blood-red van. Royal Mail's bright young hope.
Peter, anything interesting in there, Maureen?
Just bills, it seems.
Ah, nothing worth reading then. Just chuck them on the par with the others. Guys, bills are very useful bits of information. They allow us to budget for the future, to assess...
We'll be talking about blue sky thinking next.
Yes, well, we'll all be doing some blue sky thinking soon if we don't get that roof fixed, Peter.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. There is something a bit more interesting in here. Wow, Peter. It looks like you've been offered an honorary degree.
Son of a white hen. What marvellous news. A day, no, a week of celebration. Let joy be unconfined. Close the museum.
We haven't opened up yet.
Yes, can we try and start opening the museum on time? I don't know how often I have to say...
Let's see that letter, Maureen. Who's conferring this honour upon me, Julian? Is it our friends in the New World, Harvard, Yale, and Princeton?
A little close to home, actually.
Oxford, the dreaming spires, Cambridge, the rational rooftops.
Not Oxbridge, Peter.
Oui, la Sorbonne. École Normale Supérieure.
No, not France. Please just tell him. UCL, Peter. They want to present you with an honorary degree for your services to literature.
Not quite the institution I'd hoped for, but still, let's not forget UCL is one of the capital's most distinguished institutions.
No, Peter, not University College London, the University of the Central Lakes.
I'm sorry?
Oh, yes, I think you meant to call it UCLAC. There was a court case. I think the real UCL took them to court. Is UCLAC the one that was a teacher training college for special needs? Yes, but for teachers with special needs.
A dog went there. I saw it on Look North. It was someone's guide dog, but it passed the exams and got a degree.
Peter, are you okay?
UCLAC! UCLAC!
I'll have to let them know, Peter. It's this Thursday. Gosh, that's soon. Maybe someone else has dropped out.
Hey, you'll have to wear one of those funny hats, Peter, like the guide dog on the news.
What did I do to deserve this? It's as though my entire life's been a complete waste. Well, has it?
Well...
Oh, don't all speak at once. In fact, no. Close the museum immediately. Burn it to the ground.
Peter, where are you going?
To my bedroom. Don't even think of coming after me. And I mean it this time.
Regarding the degree, do we think that was a yes or a no?
Plum House by Ben Cottam and Paul McKenna. Episode 3, Black Pudding.
He's still in bed. Alan's gone to check on him. He's taken it quite badly, I'm afraid.
It's an honorary degree, not a death sentence.
We should have read him the small print. You get 5% off at Bargain Booze in Kendal.
I must admit, even for Peter, this reaction seems a little dramatic. Has he been under any other stress recently?
Well...
No, go on, Maureen.
Well, you know how you've forbidden Peter from doing any media appearances since the Country File incident?
Oh, Adam Henson kindly agreed to drop the charges.
Well, when you and Emma were messing about in London last week...
Begging head office to continue our funding.
I let Peter go on the radio.
You did what?
Just local radio, BBC Cumbria. They rang up desperate for a guest. I didn't think it'd do any harm.
Oh, God, Maureen, what happened?
Here, I taped it. I thought we might be able to sell a few cassettes afterwards.
My castaway this week on Derwentwater Discs is Peter Knight, curator of a place called Plum House, which is dedicated to something called a George Pudding.
No. You see, that's your first boo-boo. He was a great poet and not a dessert.
All right.
This is a common misconception among the semi-literate.
And he was a real person, was he?
I'll fast-forward this bit. Yeah, it's a great show. Derwentwater Discs. But after so many years of it, there's not many local people left for them to interview. The presenter, Steve Clegg, he gets on with everyone. Well, except...
Well, obviously, he never forgot his maternal grandmother, Ellen Cumpsty, who was always...
Please, Peter, for the love of God, can you just tell us what your first selection is?
Yes. Folk music of any kind.
Right, you like that, do you?
I don't. I despise it with all my heart.
So why do you want to take it with you to a lovely island in the middle of Derwentwater?
Yeah, see, he didn't really understand the concept.
No, I'm afraid we don't have Alcan's Symphony for solo piano.
Perhaps I could sing another of George Pudding's own compositions instead, then.
Please don't sing another one. Just
stop singing.
Have your trousers.
Oh, where's that bit?
Get off the control panel! How many times we just play the extract?
That's the problem with you and your odious ilk, Steve, isn't it? Anything for an easy life.
Jen, please, get security. Let me tell you this, Peter. In all my years of presenting this show, I've never had to deal with such a difficult and boring man.
I'm sorry, what?
Peter, wake up and smell the coffee. All this George Pudding stuff, you wasted your entire life. And now here's Bill Withers with A Lovely Day.
When I wake up in the morning, love.
I'm sorry. I know. I shouldn't have let him go on the radio.
Never again, Maureen.
Alan brought him back, and Peter, well, he just sat in the chair and said nothing for the rest of the day. Peter! Nothing!
Oh, maybe it's a little more serious than we first thought.
Any luck, Alan? How was he? Still furious?
He says he won't get out of bed.
Yeah, you can take your crash helmet off now, Alan.
He says he won't get out of bed. He's still throwing things.
I think we're going to have to try something different to get him out of bed.
Tom, I think we might need to open the black trunk.
What's the black trunk?
Come on, it might be easy to show you.
I'm really not happy about this. Peter said it was only to be opened in the rarest of emergencies, and by me, secret guardian of the black trunk.
Some secret guardian you were. You told us all about it within half an hour.
It's a very prestigious role. Thought it best to mention it.
Give it here. I'll open it.
No, it's only to be opened by the appointed custodian in the event of Peter's death or near death. Just get it unlocked then. Right, fine, yes. Has anybody seen the key?
Oh, Alan, do you think you can pick the lock?
Hey, there's nothing like a hammer for opening a locked box, is there?
Quiet, everyone. There could be anything in here. Stop it.
Oh, it's just a load of dusty old papers.
What are all these bound books?
The Dark Knight Rises, the autobiography of Peter Knight. That is just volume 1. He's on with the sequel now, Knight in Shining Armour. I think he finally starts prep school in volume 3.
Aha! His will. I hope I get summit after years of putting up with his...
What? Give that here. What do I get?
Don't snatch. I'll let you have a read after me.
Right, Maureen, I am in charge.
Don't pull or you'll tear it.
Oh, you're ripping it now.
Get off me.
Right, Maureen, come here.
Plum House, dignified as ever.
I'll go and get the Hoover.
Wait, what do you think this is?
Looks like a business card, maybe for a pub or something called the Black Dog.
Yeah, but look on the reverse. In case of mental emergency, phone Dr. Block, and there's a telephone number. Yeah, should we give this Block a call?
And say what? Sorry to bother you, but our curator's sulking in bed because he's been offered a free degree from a local uni. Oh, yeah, we found your number at the bottom of a secret trunk and...
Hello, is that Dr. Block?
State your problem.
I'm calling from Cumbria, from a place called...
This is about Peter Knight, yeah?
How did
My
you...
train shall arrive tomorrow at 11:23 a.m. Send a car to pick me up. Auf Wiederhören.
Right, well, I guess he's on his way.
Dr. Block?
I am the only passenger at the station, therefore your deduction is quite correct.
OK. Hop in. I'm Emma, by the way.
You're an attractive woman, Emma. And from the turn of your key in the ignition, I should say also extremely competent. But this is never recognized at Plum House, no? You feel underappreciated.
Yeah, OK. Well, thanks for that, but I'm not the one we need your help with.
No offense intended. You see, I am the top psychiatrist to the academic profession. Not, you understand, to the rank and file, only to the very best. And I only take on cases that interest me. Germaine Greer trashing a branch of Waterstones when she tires of a book signing. Brian Cox's cold, sweating nightmares about the inevitable heat death of the universe. Will Self suddenly realizing no one likes him.
So why are you taking Peter's case on then? He's hardly in that league, is he?
2 reasons. Firstly, friendship. I have known Peter for many years, since a chance encounter in an East Berlin discotheque, where despite the loud music and frenetic dancing, we were able to discuss at length the origin of consciousness in the breakdown of the bicameral mind. And secondly, his field of interest. I believe he might be suffering from pudding syndrome.
Pudding syndrome? Sounds like when Maureen's on a break from Weight Watchers.
No. Pudding syndrome is a sudden ontological emptiness that overwhelms the sufferer on the realization that they have, well, wasted their entire life.
I see.
From your well-worn identification badge, I should say you have been at Plum House a number of years, so you should be very careful. I mean, you wouldn't want pudding syndrome as well, would you, Emma?
Yeah, well, don't worry about me, mate. I realised I'm wasting my life years ago.
Hello, Dr. Block. I'm Tom. I called yesterday. Thanks so much for coming.
Even from the grip of your handshake, I'm sensing you were starved of affection when younger, so are now doomed to spend your life running round like a little puppy dog, repeatedly pawing at the leg.
Yes, well, it's great to meet you.
Don't. I've already had any of this. How's Peter?
Not good. I took him up a cracking jam sandwich earlier, but he hardly noticed. All he seems to be able to say is pudding and why.
Then we must hope I am not too late. Peter may soon be lapsing in and out of consciousness, suffering from all manner of delusions. Speaking of which, where is Peter's wife?
She's on one of her, extended breaks.
Very wise, very wise. Well, do not contact her. The last thing we need is the complication of another woman around here.
Charming as ever.
In fact, would you be a good girl and make me a cup of tea?
Right. Think I've had quite enough of this guy. If you'll excuse me.
She didn't even ask you if you wanted a biscuit.
No biscuits. I am a man without vices. My body is, as they say, a temple. Now come. Take me to the patient. I do not mean to alarm you, but Peter's mind hangs in the very balance.
Peter, we've got a visitor for you. He's not good, Tom. I've never seen him like this.
I can see that. He's wazzed his lunch at the wall. Honestly, it took me ages to make that jam butty.
Everyone move back, please. Let us not crowd the man. Peter, old friend. It is always good to see you, but not under these desperate circumstances.
Why, Block? Why?
Shh. Keep calm, Peter. You must rest.
How are you feeling, Peter? We're all very worried about you.
What does it all mean? Block, tell me I didn't waste my life.
Peter, please, just close your eyes and rest.
Can't, Block.
Well, listen carefully to my voice. It sounds so calming, doesn't it? So gentle, so soothing. Und 5 und 4 und 3 und 2 und 1, geh schlafen sofort.
Hey, wow. You'll have to teach me that method. It'd work a treat on shoplifters, that would.
What can we do to help him, Dr. Block?
The first thing I need you all to do is to show Peter that while there are those outside Plum House who do not appreciate him as he would like, he is truly loved here by all of his colleagues and friends. So, who wants to go first? A quick compliment from everyone to slip into his subconscious?
Well, I mean, I've always admired Peter's generosity of spirit.
Some generosity? He didn't even include me in his will. I mean, I don't think he did. It was quite hard to tell in the end, with it being ripped into all those little pieces.
How about you then, handyman? Are there any kind words you remember Peter saying to you?
Oh, yes, I'll never forget this one time. He said... No, sorry, it's gone.
OK, Maureen, you've known Peter a long time. There must be something you like about him.
I used to like his appetite, but now he doesn't even have that.
Surely one of you must be able to say something nice. If I was able to find 10 people to say nice things about David Starkey, this should be a walk in the park.
Oh, I'll go and get that.
Has no one any kind words for Peter whatsoever?
Might be best trying a new approach, Dr. Block.
Yes, all right. We passed the room for the visiting school children before.
The education room, yes. We haven't actually had any school groups since Peter put on a ventriloquist act for the kids that ended in tears for all concerned.
You know, a ventriloquist dummy could be just the thing.
All this fuss and nonsense over an honorary degree.
To be fair, I've just been on UCLAC's website. It's even worse than we thought. You can do a degree in forklift truck driving. The first 2 years are just theoretical.
Okay, now, do you see this dummy, Peter? This is a technique I developed when working with Simon Sharma after the unfortunate hostage incident in Hay-on-Wye. Now, I want you to imagine this dummy is your younger self, Peter. Hello, older Peter. See? Now, what advice would you give him?
Never get married.
Wow. Yes, that does feel like a bit of a breakthrough already, actually.
Hello, it's me again, Peter, younger you. And I was hoping you could tell us how you were going to...
Get off me! Get it off me!
Right. Yeah, so, okay. Not even the dummy is working. Time for a new approach. Alan, a hand with the smock, please.
Oh, what now?
Hello? Tom? Julian? Dr. What's-his-face? Oh, it's just you.
Oh, good to see you too, Maureen.
Well, I thought you were making that doctor a brew.
He can make his own brew, patronising git.
Hey, you have to say, though, he does sound clever, doesn't he? Like one of them Nazis in Indiana Jones.
I don't think he's anywhere near as clever as he thinks he is. And I've got a feeling I know just how to cheer Peter up after all.
Was that a little smile from Peter?
I think it was. This might actually be working.
Nice one, Alan. He'll soon be back to his best.
The simple act of a practical task, painting a garden wall, is acting as a gentle diversion from recent news.
Looks like you found yourself a new handyman, Alan. What do you think?
Oh, no. No. I mean, look at it. It's actually like someone's been cleaning a brush on a wall. He's missed a bit there. And chuffing Ada. He spilled some on the floor.
Yes, Alan, but Peter...
Now, I don't agree with marking things out of 10, but if I did, I'd probably say 1.
Alan.
Mr. Knight, I am sorry, but you are doing a terrible job.
I failed again. I can't even paint the garden wall.
Just stick to your own job, please, whatever that is.
Be quiet, handyman. That is not helping.
Here you are. Can I have a word with everyone? Maybe a word without Peter.
Don't worry, I'll stay and keep an eye on him. Just what any good deputy curator would do.
I've got a new shipment of novelty tapes.
Peter, you don't have a second copy of your will anymore?
So it was the university on the phone before, wanting to know if Peter wants his degree.
I have no doubt that if he gets better, when he gets better, he will want that degree very much indeed.
Well, that's no good. They said it needs to be picked up today.
Well, why don't you pop down the road and pick it up then, Maureen?
And leave this loony bin? Gladly. Just watch me gift shop.
Perhaps the handyman could go with you also. I feel like he might be hindering Peter's recovery.
And not sort out this shoddy workmanship? It's beyond words.
Please, can you both just leave? I have work to do.
Oh, keep your hair on. Well, what you've got left. Come on, Alan. I'll make some fresh butties in a flask.
Warm Ribena, please.
At last they leave. Is there anyone normal around here? Do you have any cigarettes, Tom?
I thought you said your body was a temple.
It's been a very long afternoon.
Guys! He's writing something with the paint!
What is it, a breakthrough?
It seems to be...
Why? Pudding? Why?
Peter, let's put the paint down, shall we? Come on, Peter.
Peter, please.
No, Peter, don't tip it over yourself, Peter. Peter! Oh. It's all gone a bit apocalypse now.
Come on, Block. This has fast become the toughest case of my career. Yes. Gentlemen, I have one final idea.
Wow, look at that. I'd heard about these sliding doors, but seeing them in action is something else. Truly, we are living in the space age.
Oh, they have them a little. There's a meat counter there that'll blow your mind.
Hi, welcome to the University of the Central Lakes. Can I help you?
Hello. Maureen, can you do the talking bit?
Oh, honestly. Yes, we're here for Peter Knight's honorary degree.
Oh, gosh, Peter Knight. Oh, well, the ceremony's just started. We need to get you robed up. Let's walk and talk.
Oh, no, we're just here to pick up the degree.
Oh, I see. But unless the actual Mr. Knight attends the ceremony, I'm afraid we're unable to hand it out. You see, half the reason we give the award out is that we'll have a prestigious visitor giving a speech to the students.
Right. Well, go on then, Peter. Introduce yourself.
What?
Oh, Mr. Knight. Oh, I'm so glad you could make it. We actually get a lot of people turning our degrees down.
No, I'm
Shake
not...
a hand, Peter. Oh, sorry about him. He's one of these academic types, you know, a bit shy.
Well, this way. And have you got your speech prepared, Mr. Knight?
I can't speak in public. I've only ever done it once, and that was just to say I don't speak in public.
Don't worry, he'll think of something.
Just speak about something you know. That's what they usually say, isn't it? You'll be absolutely fine. Just to be clear, I didn't go here. I actually went to a proper uni. Anyway, here we are, the robing room.
Just looks like a store cupboard.
Yeah. As I say, I went to a proper uni. Please don't judge me on this place. I just work here.
It's very nice indeed. There's a lovely catch on that door.
Now, do you want to watch from the audience or sit on the platform with your husband?
Let's get one thing clear, Lovey. This man is not my husband.
That's as good a job as I could do. Any paint still on him is just going to have to stay on him.
We are about to try some shock therapy. Approach the edge of the water, Peter.
Wait, no, you're not actually going to jump in, are you? It's freezing out here. Peter might get hypothermia. He might drown.
Are you ready, Peter?
Yes, absolutely. What's going on?
Come on, Mark. You really think this is going to reset his mind?
Any other ideas, boy? I was the one who got Mary Beard back on Twitter. I can sure as hell cure Peter Knight.
I'm only asking. Just be careful with him.
Right, Peter. Hold my hand. Ready?
Sorry, what's going on?
3, 2, 1.
I wish I'd put some trunks on. This Dr. Block started looking a bit anxious himself, isn't he? Well, Peter can drive anyone a bit mad. It's just, I don't think he had that twitch when he first arrived, did he?
Wash your mind clean!
And although Melvin Bragg actually threatened us with legal action if we offered him an honorary doctorate again, I'm delighted to say we now have with us someone who didn't. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce Peter Knight.
Hello. I have a tool in my hand, if you can see at the back, a very useful tool, but we don't call it a digging device or an earth-moving thing or even a shovel. With a shovel, there's a curvature to the blade. What's he talking about?
I'm not sure.
Digging down. No, we call it a spade because they say that you should always call a spade a spade.
You need to make it a bit more relevant to the students.
Oh, yeah. So, what am I trying to say? Be like the spade. If you're built to dig, then dig. If you want to shovel, shovel. If you were born a spade but want to be a shovel, come and see me. I've got bits in my shed. Whatever happens in life, you will still be you. So, keep digging. Careful, mind, not too deep. You'll need a JCB for that. And don't forget to smile.
Ugh, what a load of twaddle.
And that's it. And thank you.
Oh, Peter's gone blue.
At last, I have finally broken through, finally made him realize how vital his life truly is. The black dog has been chased away.
I'm really awfully depressed, chaps. And now, very cold as well.
Quiet, Peter.
Sorry, Dr. Block. Do you think maybe we should call an end to these experiments? I'm not sure really that they're helping. I think you've gone far enough, mate. Look, you're shaking too.
Have you any idea how hard it is to counsel the academic profession? They are not normal. They are not rational people like we are. So we are going up that mountain.
No, you're not. This is insane.
Come on, Peter. Come with me.
Stop. Everyone calm down.
Oh, Emma, thank God.
There's a different way to help Peter.
Yes, why don't we walk barefoot on a barbed wire fence and put
Shut
our...
up, you! Peter, I've scanned the first volume of your autobiography as an e-book. It's up on Amazon. And, well, it's actually doing really well. Look on the iPad.
The Dark Knight Rises, ranked 2087th on Amazon. Hang on, don't people think it's...
Quiet, Julian. Peter, you're a best-selling writer with a book about your life and how you've devoted it to George Pudding. People do care about what you've done.
How about that, Peter?
Ha! You reckless amateurs. You know nothing. Do you really think that one little electronic book will...
A best-selling writer? Well, I'll be blowed. I always knew I had it in me. Hurrah! And indeed, huzzah!
Peter, your towel.
That is all it took?
Oh, yes. What exactly am I doing on this fell side? And why am I so cold?
We'll get you warm. It's good to have you back.
Come on, let's walk back to Plum House.
After all I did, all I tried.
Hey, listen, Emma, I don't want to sound inappropriate.
And what? Self-publishing a little book makes everything okay? I mean, no. Das ist nicht richtig. I mean, is that all I am good for? Trying to help other people? And then not even being good at it? No. No, it will not do. I mean, why? Why? What is the point of it all, huh? I am going up the mountain alone, and don't come and find me. And this time, I mean it!
I managed to get him on the train okay.
Poor old Block.
I'm glad Mountain Rescue came as quickly as they did.
It was quite tricky explaining why Block was naked.
Oh, you know, Europeans. Honestly, I've seen more men undressed on the continent than I have clothes.
I'm glad they didn't section him in the end. You know, he just needs a good rest.
A lot of people say that after a trip to Plum House.
Well, let's just hope if we do see him again, it's under more normal circumstances.
Yes, I gather I haven't been the easiest fellow to rub along with the past couple of days.
It was unbelievable, Peter.
The standard of that painting.
But let's just say I'm back, feeling myself once more, and couldn't be more chipper. Item 1 on the agenda, how is my internet bestseller doing? Internet's a word I don't claim to understand, but bestseller's one I very much do.
I'm afraid The Dark Knight Rises has been withdrawn from sale.
Why?
What?
Peter...
Pending a legal challenge from Warner Brothers Pictures. But we can get it back on sale if we change the title.
Oh, all right. What about Dub Me Night? It's a little phrase from Henry IV, always stuck in the old cheese box.
Oh, and following a complaint from a reader, Amazon have actually recategorised it from true lives to comedy. I hope you don't mind, Peter.
Oh. Well, you know, that might...
The best have thought this world little more than a pantomime. And I am being acknowledged by readers, decent people, proper people, which is honour enough. We'll have to organise a nationwide reading tour, signings at all the bookshops.
Peter, it's an e-book.
Right. Second item on the agenda, some mysterious graffiti, or rather a graffito, singular, if you please, has appeared on our garden wall. It simply says, "Why pudding why?" in big black letters. Such an outrageous desecration of this proud nation's cultural fabric cannot be allowed to stand.
But you did it.
And I will give my bottom a damn good thrashing later, you can be sure of that. But we can't have visitors seeing that.
Some Japanese tourists quite liked it. I told them it was a Banksy.
So, Alan, I need you to go and clear it up at once.
No.
But why?
Because I've got an honorary degree.
It's true, he has. You should have seen the students. They loved him. Some of them put the speech online. He's gone viral as well.
Another internet celebrity.
Some of them are having me back, aren't they, Maureen? Who are they again? I was a bit confused.
The GBLT Society? Something like that. He struck a chord with a lot of the students when he said that it didn't matter if you were a shovel or a spade. They'd made him their cisgender person of 2018. Whatever that means.
Well done, Alan. We're all very proud of you.
What, maybe Peter should go and repair his own graffiti, then?
I'd still like to do the painting, thank you very much. Just because I am officially the cleverest person at Plum House...
Steady on.
...doesn't mean I won't be continuing to do repairs and, what's the word for, fixing old stuff?
Restoration.
Yes, that.
I must say, a curator who's written a best-selling internet book, a handyman with an honorary doctorate...
And a German visitor who came to help us out and lost his mind in the process.
What an interesting and talented bunch we are at Plum House. I think we almost deserve the day off, if not the entire week. Somebody close the museum.
Have we actually opened yet?
Plum House was written by Ben Cottam and Paul McKenna. It starred Simon Callow, Jane Horrocks and Miles Jupp, with Tom Bell, Piers Quigley and Louise Ford. Dr. Block was played by Steve Pemberton, and the other parts were played by Alex Lowe and Sarah Dakin. It was produced by Sarah Cartwright and directed by Paul Schlesinger. It was a hat-trick production for BBC Radio 4.
Thanks very much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We broadcast every Sunday night from 8 to 11 Central Time, and we hope that you'll be a frequent visitor. Until next time, sleep tight. This is a production of Lobato Studios, Sao Paulo, Brazil.